Hello, listening people.
Hello.
You're listening to Spin and Polish presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. I'm Ryan Sliwinski.
And I'm Bartek, who giggles.
Giggly Bartek and non-giggly Ryan, because I'm deadly serious what I'm about to tell you right now. This is not a joke, okay? We are Spin and Polish. Why? Here's the not joke. Because we are both Polish. And that's it. Like, I'm not...
Yes, and we spit.
And we spit when we speak, because saliva is what makes you speak. You know, it's that your lips and the tongue, you know, you got to work it together, you know. You really got to work the mouth action for the words to come out. And that's serious. And what do? We have a show, you know, a podcast, you know.
Seriously?
Serious.
I mean, giggly?
No. We have a podcast called Unappreciated Masterpieces that we present. And what do we do on this podcast? Yeah, good question. Here's the answer.
What do we do on the podcast, sir?
Here's the pop quiz. What do we do? Here's the answer to that pop quiz. We do feature-length commentaries for movies that seemingly don't deserve them. But that's where you, specifically you, are wrong. Because these movies do deserve to be talked about. Someone had an artistic vision, and they wanted to share that with the world. They were brave enough to write a script and send that off to a studio, send that off to an executive, to their agent. And then it got made. People were hired for the production. Actor, director, cinematographer.
More actors.
Lighting. A crew made sets. And we, the audience, just didn't love it. But we didn't hate them either. The thing is, we don't choose those movies that are recognized for being loathed and detested so much. These are the movies that are just kind of swept under the rug. They're not in anyone's top 10 hated list, not in their top 10 loved. And that's just depressing. And we, on this show, talk about them in depth. Yeah, that's right. We want to get to the meanings, the minutiae, what it is that the artist and artists involved were trying to communicate in their piece of work. Isn't that right, Bartek?
Yes, you are correct, sir.
I'll allow you to say that.
Thank you.
Call me sir. Bartek.
Bartek is me.
We're going to be covering the film today, and this month we're in, filming this, filming. Get it?
We're recording, right?
It's all the same to me. We are recording this
Wait,
in October. I'm filming you. You don't know it.
Oh, shit.
You don't see that keyhole over there? It's actually a camera.
Oh, well, I was
with a man masturbating.
Well, I was looking at your laptop and
woman. I don't want to judge.
Well, you see, Ryan, your laptop has like a webcam thing at the top, so...
That's for me to masturbate later.
Okay.
So...
It's aimed right at you, though, so...
I'm not joking around, okay, Bartek? What we're doing right now this is October, yeah? It's spooky month.
It's Libra time.
We really should come up with a name for this month. Like, I always keep calling it spooky, scary horror. Like, because I don't want to nail it down to just be called horror month. Because the movies that we cover aren't necessarily going to just be horror month.
You've mainly been going with spooky.
Spooky, this doesn't help either because we haven't covered any ghost movies, which you associate spooky with. And Supernatural, we've done Supernatural last time, but we're covering the darker toned movies. Movies that explore the darker nature of man, of the world. Bartek, what is the dark movie that we're going to be embroiling ourselves in this episode? For those who obviously can't read the title.
We started spooky month, October month, scary month. October month, that's a good one. As opposed to May month and stuff like that. The movie that we're covering today covers a different dark side. This one isn't a monster-related
The one
film.
from DC?
What?
Darkseid is a villain from DC Comics. Are we covering him?
Darkside's probably a million things.
No, it's just that one.
Like the corner of a room where the light don't shine.
That sounds like a song you're gonna break into there. Like the corner of the room where the sun don't shine. And then like you hear like a tambourine gently in the background and then you broke out.
Tambourine.
That's an instrument, not an orange.
I can see it now. But Ryan, I need to get to what I was saying before.
I'll allow it.
The movie that we are covering for October month, part 3, is another dark side of cinema. It is not a monster film like with the zombies or the sleepwalkers. It is something more related to the scariest institutions of the world. A school.
School?
For those people listening, I said school, not ghoul. Ghouls are monsters. I said they're no monsters.
To be honest, I don't see the difference. You know, school, ghoul, they're all a scary institution.
You're gonna wake up in the morning and be like, I'm late for ghoul.
I'm late for ghoul.
And the film that we are covering today is one of the 7 deadly sins of schools.
Ghouls. Sorry. One of the sins is just ghouls.
Okay, yes. It's the second of the 7 deadly sins of school. Vagare.
Oh, wait, say it again.
It's the second of the 7 deadly sins of school. Vagare.
Okay, now, I'm imagining he's speaking Polish. But
7 deadly sins of schools in English.
I heard what he just said.
Vagare.
And it sounds like we're watching Viagra, the movie. My favorite type of movie. Last week we did, what was it? Lunaticy? That was the Polish name for sleepwalkers?
Lunaticy, yeah.
Yeah, Lunaticy. Tits in space. And now we're doing Viagra.
It was tits on the moon, Ryan, get it
Tits
right.
tits on the moon in space, you know, and now we're doing Viagra. Oh boy, but what does Viagra mean in Polish?
Well, Ryan, you're probably thinking of the third set of the 7 deadly sins of school, which is where you have sex at school.
Oh no.
But no. We're doing the second one, Vagare, which translates to truancy, but the film is actually called Cutting Class.
Cutting Class from 1989?
Yeah.
With Brad Pitt? I mean, and the principal from Sabrina the Teenage Witch? And Hitchcock from Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Fuck me, this is gonna be exciting.
It's notable to point out, or we should point out the notable thing, that before we have done this episode...
There was an unfortunate ghoul accident.
Oh, I'm not talking about...
We'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later, but I was gonna point out the fact that the earliest film that we had done for the show before this episode was I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I think it might be Surf Ninjas.
No, Nothing But Trouble. Maybe
Nothing But Trouble.
That was like 1992, or maybe Oscar.
Oscar was 91.
Oscar, I think it's Oscar.
Maybe Oscar.
Or Three Ninjas.
It's one of the ones that we mentioned.
But this is our first time entering the 80s.
Yes, this is 89.
I love the 80s. I mean, I, like everyone else in the world, loves the 1980s. I mean, I would be a freak if I did not love the retrospective look of the 1980s. There was nothing wrong with the 1980s. It was not a time of Reagan-era corporate sleaze where AIDS was a giant epidemic killing people. No, it was hoverboards and Marty McFly was on the big screen and...
Disclaimer, Ryan Sliwinski and Bartek Kasprzyszak were born in 1993.
You know, like, I love the 80s, you know, it's... Steven Spielberg made movies then. Unlike now, you know, like, oh, times were simpler then.
There was
no bad aspects.
Well, actually, there was that ghoul infestation.
Well, that's what I wanted to get to. There was ghoul infestation in 1989. And that ghoul infestation made a film called Cutting Class. We have a guest today. I asked this guest, I want you to come on the show for the film Cutting Class. Now...
It's not a question, but, you know.
Now, hold on. I'm getting to the question.
Ooh.
Would you like to come on for it?
That's a question!
Now, hold on. Now, here's actually the best part. I actually originally stated, hey, do you want to come on for the podcast? The guest replied with, are you going to let me know what movie first? Like, that's not going to be an option. And then I said, cutting class, I just said, you know, we need you for this. You know, this is a movie that has Brad Pitt in a slasher whodunit murder mystery set in high school, and they reply with, that's my kind of shit.
You said it was terrible.
I didn't say it was terrible.
But like good terrible.
No, I never said that in a message. But thank you, guest. Hold on. I'm setting up the scene. So I had the guest organized. They've just spoken. They didn't get to watch this film before we started recording this episode, and it's because, unfortunately, they were working at an agency for ghouls, and they found out that she was not a ghoul. And they're like, sorry, non-ghoul lady, we have to let you go because you are in fact not a ghoul. We only hire ghouls at Ghoul Academy.
I mean, that's probably the most inventive way to say I got fired yesterday.
From being a ghoul.
I got pissed in the middle of the day.
And she got pissed in the middle of the day and forgot to watch this movie because, being drunk. Hold on. Being drunk. It's only one guess that could it be. Jess wine mum Trewin.
I have never
Disclaimer,
actually...
she's not a mum. No one should
I
allow
got
her to have
children.
kids. No one should allow her to have kids.
I just steal children when I'm drunk. That's why. That's how I got that.
Steal children or distill children? Like, she opens up her own brewery of children. It's like, I'm distilling children right now. It's my favorite beer. But you're a wine person. And Jess, you're going to be going through the journey like the audience.
Were you about to say whining?
I was like waiting for that.
You're whining. You're going to go through the journey with us of watching and learning about what cutting class is. Because I imagine a lot of people listening right now, if there are any, which I imagine there are, it's going to be me in 4 months' time. Cutting class is not known to everyone. It's a very underground, unappreciated masterpiece, I would say. It's very underground, It's underneath the ghouls' level of ground, and that's pretty low down. The ghouls live underground, so it's even under their ground. It's like, what I'm saying is this film's the core of the earth.
Where do ghouls live?
I literally just stated underground.
Do they?
You worked for them, of course you know. Didn't you really notice that when you took the elevator to work, it went down underground?
Ryan, be fair, it was dark. You couldn't actually
Yeah.
tell if you were going down or up or left or right.
Remember that time I literally forgot the place that I live for? Over
Lived
here?
for? Like, I forgot the place I lived for, and that was the Ghoul Academy
I lived here for
underground.
over a year.
I love that Ghoul Academy. No, we're gonna get this started, right? So get your copy, because I imagine everyone has a copy of this 1989 film classic, Cutting Class.
It's on
Despite what you
YouTube.
said just before, yes.
Hey, don't underestimate them. All right, they heard me say the name, and they're like, I fucking own it now. Like, if they're doing this with Wine Mum Trewin, I've got to own a copy of this legally. So get your copy ready, because we're going to start this. You're going to press play when I say play, so you're synced up with us, watching this along with us. I'm going to give a countdown, and like you just said, we're going to do it. 3, 2, 1, play. So, this is a film. Now, we already heard Jess's backstory with this film. Bartek,
Yes.
what's your history with April Films' classic Cutting Class?
Well, Bartek, very smart boy. He go to university for education. And
Was it a ghoul one?
No Ghoul University.
No Ghoul
University for good
That's
boys.
where I messed up.
Anyway, Bartek do assignment, final assignment of year, and assignment it killing Bartek. Very smart boy, but it killing him.
Are you getting more Polish as we're going to do this episode?
And then, yeah, skończyłem assignment. I finished the assignment, and I said, wow, my end of year break has officially begun. Instantly, I started this movie.
Which you had never seen before? Which you hadn't seen before?
No, never seen it before. I just knew that it was Brad Pitt's first ever film. I started the film, and I'm like, yes, I am now transitioning into my
man.
holiday mode. I'm in a good place. I'm gonna enjoy this film. And Bartek very enjoy film after watching.
Now,
And during, too.
I know this film as well. I also studied at a university for non-ghouls,
Okay.
Jess. And I heard about this film from a YouTube channel called Fanboy Flicks, and he did a review for it. It was called Brad Pitt's Worst Ever Film.
You're immediately like,
And I was like,
yes.
I need to know what... And all the thumbnail was this chick bending down. Which, Jess, spoiler alert, you see this chick's underpants a lot. Like, this is how we first meet her.
A lot of panty shots.
A lot of panty shots. We first meet her in this kind of skimpy outfit. Like, just in a shirt. And her dad's like, what are you doing, baby? And she's like, clearly trying not to let my, like, underpants up to the world. And then have a 5-minute conversation outside. But I knew about it from this channel, and they described and reviewed it in a hilarious way, and I was like, man, I want to see it myself. And then I thought, let's just do it for the podcast, you
You
know?
wanted to see it yourself just to grab the essence of it and show that YouTuber that this is an unappreciated masterpiece that deserves respect.
Brad Pitt's worst film? More like Brad Pitt's best film. He is so good in this.
We gotta play that back. Worst film, best film.
No, it was going to be like, ghouls? Where do they live? Underground. I just said this.
I thought they lived in trees.
Those are birds.
What do you mean ghouls lived in trees? They don't have wings.
I've always thought of them as living in abandoned, like, buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, like, you
Old
could also
trees.
believe them living underground, but not trees. Wait, hold on. Did he just say abandoned buildings?
Yeah.
I started talking to her and her say, like trees.
Old trees.
Abandoned buildings. You nailed it. Nailed this down, Jess. So
Let's hold on. Let's negotiate. Abandoned tree houses.
okay, now I'll allow that, but she didn't mention houses. She just said trees.
That's why
Or
it's a
old
negotiation.
trees.
I'm gonna negotiate back on this, which is this is the greatest film ever made, and you're new to this. You didn't watch it. I'm gonna tell you what it's about. Quick summary of the film. This man here, the principal from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and also the gay guy from Roseanne, he's the father of our heroine. Not the drug, like female hero.
Yeah.
Panty shot girl.
Panty shot girl. Panty shot girl has her dad, and her dad's the DA of the town. That stands for district attorney.
Yep. I went to.
And yeah, you went to ghoul school, so you don't even know if they're underground or not. Don't talk to me. And then he's
They're
going
in
on a
trees.
hunting. Hold on, he's going on a hunting trip for a week. Now this is the thing that really clinches it. He's not a good hunter, but he's a good lawyer. And everyone says to him, when I say everyone, literally one person, his daughter, says you're a bad hunter, and he's like, hey, and he sets up the plot. He goes, I'm going to be away for a week. There's 3 things I want to happen, right? There's 3 rules. Rule number 1.
Rules not to break, I think.
Rules not to break.
Yeah.
Study. You got to do your studies. I want you to study. Number 2.
Boring.
No boys. Over. Right? And number 3, don't cut class.
Okay.
And the movie sets up from there. Obviously, these rules are going to be broken or bent and screwed around with.
Obviously.
And what happens is there's a slasher killer out there. There's someone out there in this school, in this area, that's killing people. So we're now meeting this person for the first time. They're going to shoot the dad here with an arrow. But you're thinking, oh, the dad, right? Clearly going to be dead. He's the first victim. He gets shot, Jess, in the chest. But here's where the movie says no. He spends a whole week, because this movie takes place in a week, crawling around, trying to crawl back home.
What?
And trying to get people's attention and failing.
And failing. Meanwhile,
Is this a comedy?
kinda isn't.
His character arc is, though.
Okay.
Brad Pitt
Ooh,
is the
Brad.
boyfriend, the jock schooler basketball hero who's got bad grades. That's very important, Jess. He has bad grades.
He plays the dumbass jock
And
well, doesn't
he
he?
has good hair, and he's a bad driver. But he's good at basketball. He's a jerk boyfriend who wants to have sex with heroine, but she doesn't want to have sex.
Okay.
She wants to abide by her dad's rules. She's a real bookworm. Like, she doesn't want to break the rules, but the murdering situation happens, and that kind of spins everything out of control, Jess. And then, you'll love this, and you, the audience, should love this too. Meanwhile, oddly enough, at the same time that the killings start happening, a couple of days beforehand, a young man gets released from a mental institution that he had to be in for accidentally or possibly on purpose killing his own father by cutting the brake lines to his car.
The newspaper we saw before had a little headline about it.
And then people start dying when this guy gets into the school, and the whole mystery is this psycho kid, who's this young gentleman here with the Frankenstein coat,
His only outfit.
his only outfit?
Oh, he gets a tie
Oh,
later.
he's kind of cute, but no, he's.
Hold on to that, Jess. That is kind of cute. Now, is he the killer? Or are people just making perceptions on his background, making whoever it is to be believed, make you believe that he is in fact the killer? Jess, it could be anyone. It could be that teacher there, who, spoiler alert, lives in this movie. Like, every teacher that we know dies, basically. So we meet, like, several we meet an art teacher, Jess, who gets shoved into a kiln. We're good, everyone. The film is still here with us, emotionally bonded. And that's the film, Jess. It's who's the killer? Could it be Brad Pitt? Could it be the psycho kid? Could it be the principal of the school? Because at no point does the school get shut down when killings start happening on school grounds.
I mean, it's America.
It's America.
Wouldn't.
America.
I mean, here they would, but over there they'd be like, oh, it's just another day.
It's just another mass shooting at the school.
Just another good
Get
day in my
political.
country.
Bartek,
Protecting our rights.
Bartek, it's a pretty interesting concept, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What they lay out here in the film.
You know, they call it a murder mystery?
Or whodunit.
Or a whodunit. A whodunit murder mystery.
Alright.
Oh, look, he's wearing a different outfit.
He's wearing...
I was wrong.
You were wrong. You should apologize. To Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, I'm so sorry. I'm such a privileged, famous actor, and you just have this film to your name, and it's unappreciated, and I was very arrogant, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
deserve many nominations for an Oscar.
He really does.
He's had like 5, I think.
And he never won it. You know, people complain, you know, about Jake Gyllenhaal not getting him. What about Brad Pitt?
And Jonah Hill.
And...
Adam Sandler.
No. You gotta let me be dramatic about this. And... this young gentleman here, which is, I'm pointing to the gym teacher, who is Hitchcock from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's a young Hitchcock from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
He looks pretty much the same.
Except for he's got a colour in his hair.
Yeah, it's like 30 years ago, but he hasn't.
30 years ago, wow. 1989 was 30 years ago. What a...
Almost.
Almost.
Like 28, actually.
Hey, Psycho Kid has tassels on his bike.
He's a sensitive soul.
And he's having a lollipop. Many a times in this film, we see the Psycho Kid on a bike, this bike with tassels, and you just go, oh, he can't be the bad guy, because he's riding a kid's bike.
Maybe he killed the kid and took his bike.
Well, maybe, Jess. You know, so...
Did I just work out the ending?
Yeah, that's the ending. Like, he's not the murderer, but he did kill a kid for a bike, oddly enough, coincidentally. You figured it out. Now, Jess, for the sake of you, the ignorant one of the group, it's because Jess is ignorant, you know, that's why I'm calling you the
You're
ignorant
just
one of the
saying because
group.
I didn't watch the movie before.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That and you're just an idiot and who's ignorant.
I can leave.
Oh, yes, and she's great, you know, like...
Ryan, you said some bad words on this show.
I think it's time to reveal the spoiler of who the killer is for
No!
Jess.
Ruin it.
Don't ruin it! No!
Well, we should have Jess guess first.
Okay, Jess, could you guess? I'll give you a list of suspects.
I want it to be the redhead best friend.
No, hold on. I'll give you the list of the prime suspects that the movie itself offers you, right? That's
That's not letting me guess.
Well,
I
hold
want
on.
her.
We gotta
I
tell
choose
her. We gotta tell her that she's one of the victims, though.
Yes, this chick's a victim later. So let me tell you, the list of suspects the film tells you. Like you know how films do that, whodunits? They give you, like, a bunch of characters that you suspect are going to be, and then it's revealed who it is, you know? So you have...
Shouldn't we wait to see?
Do you... Let me just... tell you, Jess, okay? So this is also for the audience to be like, there's characters. You have a kid who's been released from a mental institution for killing his own father. You have Brad Pitt, who has a mysterious backstory with this kid who killed his own father. They used to be best friends. You have a creepy Nazi janitor who at one point claims and proudly claims that he is the fucking custodian of their destinies. You have a very psychotically angry maths teacher. You have
A dickhead PE teacher.
you have a dickhead PE teacher.
Oh no, wait, he's one of the victims though.
Oh yeah. Sorry, or fifth one, last one, Jess. You have the really nonchalant, creepy, pervy principal of the school.
I would just like to add, pervy sort of implies a subtext.
What do you mean?
Like subtext, like, oh, this guy's probably a pervert. This guy's objectively a pervert. just to make that very clear.
Yeah, sorry. We have, so Jess, the list of suspects, I'll go in reverse order.
It's Brad Pitt.
So you're saying Brad?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he'd look really nice with like blood on his head.
That's the only reason he'd look
Yeah.
nice with blood on his head.
He'd look the
So
best.
obviously the film, being a film like this, you've watched murder mysteries before, yeah, Jess? Would you say, either of you guys, you're big fans of crime, murder mysteries, whodunits as a genre style?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Especially true crime.
True crimes?
Yep.
Do you have a favorite movie or book or story or TV show of the crime style? Like, in terms of murder? Like, you know, because crime could be like gangsters.
I tend to play a lot of video games that have murder mystery aspects to them, and I also watch an anime which is all about kind of murder mysteries.
Which one?
The anime's called Detective Conan. I think I mentioned
O'Brien?
No, I think I mentioned it once on the show, and you made that exact joke.
And I'm exactly right now, like I was then.
And yeah, with video games, I play like the bigger ones like Ace Attorney, Danganronpa, Zero Escape, kind of. But yeah, I really love the whole aspect of the murder mystery.
Fair enough. Jess, what about you? Do you have some favorite murder mystery?
I really love the British ones. You know, the sweet, charming
Midsummer Murders?
No, like Broadchurch or Happy Valley, where it's.
I like how you said the
definitely-
sweet, charming, happy ones, and then you listed bleak, depressing.
Yeah, but no, it's like Broadchurch is a place, Happy Valley is a place, but they're not. They're not happy.
Yeah, no.
They're not calm.
So who's charming in it? Like the characters?
Yeah.
No, they portray themselves as a charming,
Oh,
happy
like
town.
misleading.
Like Twin
Yes.
Peaks. So Twin
Misleadingly
Peaks.
charming.
Yes.
Twin Peaks is one of the prime examples for me of a great murder mystery.
Yeah.
Here
First
is
shot of the principal, he sniffs.
So
a thing.
everyone goes,
sniffs a sock.
Yeah.
this place is just wonderful, and then everyone turns out to be terrible, and we found out who.
I would like to point out that the principal who just appeared sniffing a sock is played by Roddy McDowall, who is a famous actor. He is in all of the Planet of the Apes movies, the original ones, as Caesar, the one that is the current focus of the new Planet of the Apes movies, because those new movies
Top
lead
Monkey.
into the Top Monkey, Andy Serkis. So he plays the original one of those, and also Cornelius, he plays dual. So it's kind of like we got an A grader in this movie, and soon to be A grader Brad Pitt.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Did Roddy McDowall teach him? Is that what I was thinking?
There's evidence to suggest that, Ryan. And you know what?
That Patty's got great eyes.
And you know what, Ryan? Evidence is one of the most important things you can have in a murder mystery.
Yeah. Just to go on my murder mysteries, I really like, Twin Peaks. And oddly enough, I really love Law and Order Criminal Intent. The one with Vincent D'Onofrio as Agent Gorin. I really like that. I don't know, I just love it. This is just a great scene. And Bartek, I think you'll back me up. How great is this scene?
Yes, this was it was very funny, the idea that this teacher had to punish a certain intruder.
Yes, so he's clearly a pervert, getting her in the skippy outfit for the people to draw her, and he's like, bend over, so they can see all your muscles, like he's demonstrating, Jess. And look who's behind there! But it's okay, he grabbed the titties of the statue.
What punishment is he going to give him, Jess?
Yeah, Jess, if you're a teacher, how would you punish this guy?
You make him strip naked.
Oh,
Is that what's
close.
Close. Just get him to model.
Just get him to model with the chick and get really close to her physically, because, she is hot. I'm just gonna say it. Like she's got a meek quality of attractive.
Well, she's
Isn't
a
she meant to
cutie.
be underage? Should you not be saying?
It's okay. We don't know what year in high school they're supposed to be in.
So it could be legal.
It could. Look, I've already
We're not
covered this
propositioning
conversation. I'm not saying. Hey, we see titties of hers later on, so it's okay.
The classic
Because-
sexism of horror films.
Hey, we see more butt than anything else in this.
Her
Oh,
butt
look
or
at
a
emo.
guy's butt?
Guy.
Should we balance it out by lusting over Brad Pitt?
No, I lost over this guy with glasses. Oh fuck yeah! Look at that guy with
Does
glasses.
Brad Pitt get naked?
No, he
That's
does wear a singlet at one point.
He wears the basketball uniform.
Yeah. So,
Oh no, he wears a t-shirt and shorts.
so
Scandalous.
all of the teachers, Jess, in this universe All of them. All of them are either predators or monsters. There's no in between.
Despite what we were saying earlier about this not being a monster film,
They are monsters as individuals, not
they're the
physical
human
beings.
type of monster, as in like the bad people kind of monster.
So everyone in this movie is a jerk,
There's one.
except for our good heroine character. She's a good girl, and she does not.
That is her character archetype, just to be clear.
Good girl.
We're not just saying good girl as in like, oh, she's the hero, she has to be good. She's literally like,
The purest person on earth, Jess.
one of her running like lines is, I have to go study.
Sorry, principal's got a liquor cabinet on the back of his door, which I imagine Jess would have if she was a principal, and he's peering behind his own coat rack. And there you go. He makes her bend over so he can check out her ass. Now, guys,
He dies. Please tell me he dies.
he
right?
lives.
love it.
He lives so hard.
He lives and he's hard, Ryan.
So hard.
Oh,
Now, when we have all gone to schools, high schools, primary, and
Me talk about
University.
that early.
have we met predator-like teachers like this man?
no, my teachers were boring.
Well, clearly you weren't bending over enough. Bartek?
You're saying I'm not pretty enough to be... Like,
No, I said you weren't bending over enough.
They wanted me.
But you weren't given nothing. That's your punishment. You weren't given nothing.
Maybe I just didn't notice.
Yeah, you're too dumb to notice that they were wanting you to bend over to see the goods.
No, I was like the fat kid in high school, so I don't think that was...
The predators don't care.
classes,
They go after.
races, it wasn't...
They go after the weak.
I don't think that was what...
The
No,
your-
all my teachers were boring. They were never... Even though it was a small
Bartek?
country school.
Bartek?
Um,
Don't want to slander
I-
our teachers. That just is a good question because this movie propositions the idea that there's a school where all the teachers are nothing but predators and monsters.
Again, this is America. I'm gonna...
Alright, hold your
I
seat.
don't think I ever had one that was like that, but my principal of my first high school a couple of years ago got in trouble because before he was the principal, he worked at a boys' orphanage in Queensland called Boys Town, and
Ooh, first murder. Yes.
well, no, he didn't murder
Die,
anyone.
bitch.
He
Sorry, I mean...
he got into trouble as all of these seemingly religious people do
For sexy-
for certain sexual related crimes.
This guy got murdered in the exact same way the witches get murdered the first time in Hocus Pocus, which is just shove them in the school's kiln and then just turn it on. Fun fact, Jess. Fun fact. At no point in this entire movie do they discover the art teacher's body. They go, he's missing, but they don't reveal that till like 80 minutes into this 90-minute film. And also they're like, oh, the art teacher's missing, and so is our friend.
He was
So our
incinerated.
friend.
There's like nothing left of him. He's like
No, Jess.
ashes.
Yeah, no, Jess. You would. It's like I know what you're trying to say, but there's enough for them to find him. You know what I mean? Like it's a kill.
Did you see the crime scene?
I've been to art kilns before. I've murdered people a lot in them. You don't get away with it. But like, they never at any point find his body. It's like no one ever went to the art room. To the cleaner is cleaning. He's in the art room cleaning, and in all fairness, you don't look in the art kiln. Like, that's fair enough. But I would have loved it if a student discovered the kiln with the body in it, and he just goes like this. Oh my god! Someone broke my statue.
Even the discovery of the friend that Jess thought might have been the killer, that body does get discovered, but it doesn't get focused on too much because it's during like a tense scene.
Could I quickly talk about that discovery? Her friends, Jess,
You
get
gonna
brutally murdered. And the killer, whoever they may be, ties their bodies together with rope to make them kiss, because they're the kissy couple. Best part is, and I can't wait till we get to this for confirmation, is she opens up a cupboard, a wardrobe, and they're standing there tied up, and you're like, oh, they're obviously tied to some kind of thing on the roof to make them suspend in the air. And she just grabs them, and it has a zoom in on their feet, which on the ground. And she just grabs them and they just fall over. And what it's revealed is they were just standing there. You know, when I murder people...
And they become missing all over town and no one knows where to find them.
Not only when I murder people, when I murder them, I make sure to make their corpses stand like how we do, without any kind of, you know, foreign object to help us suspend into the air. You know, that's how bodies work. You know, I've murdered lots of people, Jess.
Right.
I know.
So here we have just met our next suspect.
Oh, you mean...
Schultz, the janitor?
Nazi janitor.
To be honest, when he first appeared in that scene of the window, you know, wiping
gloves on his trolley.
Well, he's a cleaner.
Why do you need so many gloves?
Because he cleans every day.
Yes, but that's a lot of gloves. Yeah.
Jess, he cleans every day, including the weekends.
It seems like an excessive
Jess, you're not a cleaner.
You know what, Ryan? I think you should change what you said to he cleans all the time.
He cleans during school hours.
And after school hours.
And before. Yeah, before, after, during. Yeah. Now this... Sorry, he's hiding behind the bushes and she's like, is that him? Could it be?
He's not very good at hiding.
No.
Oh, Jess, you haven't seen him hide in his best position. I'm gonna spoil a little bit of it. It involves a water cooler.
That one.
Okay, we're getting all over the shop. I'll just go back to me for a second. I had predators that were at my school. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you've told
and
me.
Monsters as well. So this is believable.
And Ryan, are they still there?
Oh, I'm not gonna say, you know, legal reasons. But Jess, you're a newcomer to this, but you like drinking, yeah?
I've had a drink a few times in my life.
So, what kind of things do you like to drink? And if you're gonna eat stuff with your alcohol, what do you eat? Especially when you were a teenager, say.
When I was a teenager?
Yeah, you as a teenager, you would have a drink of something, and then if you had to eat something with it, what would you eat as well? Just indulge.
It depends, because when you're a teenager, you kind of try and get any alcohol that you can. So it's normally the stuff taken from your parents. Like wine cabinet. So
you're a wine person, not a beer person, yeah? But you'll drink, if you had to, you would drink a beer, yeah?
Yes.
How many teenagers, and I'm not saying this to be, like, dramatic or funny, like, they reference this as a normal thing that they do. How many teenagers in this universe, they do this normally, drink beer with ice cream and eat apples as well? Because that's what they do regularly in this universe. They say it like, hey, look, we got some more beers and ice creams. Like,
yeah, and you know why they do that, Ryan, right?
Because kids love beer and ice cream and eating apples. Because Brad Pitt walks in and he goes like, we got some more beers and ice creams, and then grabs an apple and starts eating it while having an ice cream and a beer.
I think
that was like a Brad Pitt being, not the character, just Brad Pitt being Brad Pitt.
Are you saying that Brad Pitt likes beers, apples, and ice cream?
He was told he can't have any beers or ice cream, so he's like, damn it, I want an apple.
What I was getting at was, now look, when we're talking about, you know, being healthy, you have these three things right here. We've got ice cream, apple, beer. Little Johnny comes up and says, I want to be healthy. What do you point at? You point at the apple.
I was going to say beer.
You point at the thing next to the beer, the apple.
Okay, yeah.
And then Johnny says, yay, but I also want a treat. So you say, okay.
Beer.
You could if you're negligent, but you probably point at the ice cream. And then Johnny's like, wow, I'm healthy, but I'm having something unhealthy. What is it? And you tell him, Johnny, this is what we call balance. This film is teaching you to have a balanced diet. Be healthy, but also, you know,
drink a beer.
Have a beer sometimes. Have an ice cream.
I feel like the writer asked some young people, like, hey kids, what do you do? And they're like,
they asked little Johnny.
No. They asked one teen who they know is a liar and another one that they know is a truth teller. They're like, what do you do? And one of them's like, oh, you know me, I just drink beer. And they're like, that's the truth teller. And then the liar's like, oh, I don't drink at all, I just have ice cream and apples. And they're like, combine it into one. While watching this last night, I've also never actually seen the film myself until I do it for this show. Just to clarify for earlier, I watched this and I couldn't get over the tassels on the bike, the beer, ice cream, and apples. It's like someone wrote a teen slasher movie, but they only had a 9-year-old child. Like the person who wrote this had a 9-year-old daughter, and they're like, this stuff applies. This stuff applies.
My daughter will always love ice cream and apples.
And beer. And one day
beer.
she'll drink beer with them, and she will still have tassels on the bike. And like that's it. Like it feels like a middle-aged man named Wilbur wrote a script, and it's like, there he is.
Oh my god, that's the worst hiding thing I've ever seen.
Now, if this is a modern day movie,
He's
they would
hiding
show
behind
that.
the
They would
water
show
cooler,
that, and it would
and
be
you
like.
see his face.
But here's the
behind
thing,
water-
Jess.
water
Don't you
cooler.
appreciate that this movie doesn't do the jump scare stuff? Like, that's just a slow reveal. Like, you're like,
Oh
oh,
my
is that
God.
him? In a normal movie today, they would have that, and then they would have followed with this. But in this, they have it followed with glub glub from the from the water cooler.
Yeah, and I was like, what is this glubbing implying?
It's really applying the satanic messages that the writer Wilbur really wanted to incorporate, you know? Like why is murder so appealing to us?
Right, could I just say thank you so much? Because what is this glubbing implying is a question I ask all the time and no one ever gives me an answer.
It's because they're too busy glubbing.
Yeah.
What is it this is a foreshadowing of, in this universe, facts, scanners and printers don't have lids to them. Hold on to that. That's very important for later. I'm going to ask it, what is it about murder that appeals to us on a fundamental level, like in that primal, what is it about it why do we love murders in fiction and just loves them in real life?
Well,
What is it about
Are
crime
you
murders?
talking about murders separate from a murder mystery, just in general?
Yeah, just in general, like we root for characters to die in certain things. What is it about death, murder, and all that? What is it?
Well, I suppose on the base level, we'd have to acknowledge the fact that murder is one of the most vile crimes you can commit. And I suppose the whole appeal about fiction is that you can read or you can experience a story where vile, illegal, unethical things happen without the consequence. So I suppose murder is, again, one of the most vile things, but yeah, I guess not as taboo-ish as, say, rape.
Yeah, why don't we have more rape stories?
Because we're not there yet, unfortunately.
Jess?
I don't-
We're
Unfortunately,
just
I
not
say.
there, unfortunately, with the rape stories enough.
You have to be a lot more careful about how you kind of go about rape stories, because often with murder, the victims aren't.
Well, murder, it's over.
Victims
Like, the
alive.
victims don't have
Yeah.
any kind of thing to say. Well, what about murder-rape stories? Is it okay we should do more of them?
Just, you have to be delicate about
Raping a
lot more.
murderer?
about rape rather than murder. Like, you can't.
Let's get back on murder.
Yeah.
That was just a thing I threw out there. We didn't have to discuss
No.
it. Or anything like
All
that.
right, let's...
That's another conversation.
We'll talk about rape later in the movie.
But although we should mention, this is part 2 of the dad's arc.
Yeah, his story
Remember him?
continues. Remember Dad?
What is he doing? Is he
He's still out there. Remember he was hunting out in the marshes?
And he got shot.
There he is.
Where
He's
could he
clearly
be?
dead,
No
right?
one ever found him.
Oh, here he is, screaming in pain.
What? Can no one hear him?
Oh, you're gonna get told. The teacher leans, turns over and goes, I hear that? That's the mating call of a bullfrog.
Because the dad's voice is kind of always like going,
Right.
Because he got shot in the chest with an arrow.
Right.
Help me! Bullfrogs. I love those guys. They're always mating.
Oh.
Did Psycho Kid hear him?
Did he find him?
Did he find his a victim? No. He found something even better. A snake.
Yeah, let's remember this scene of him finding the snake.
Because
in
it
front of the dad.
is very important later on, this snake, in the fact that we never see it again.
But remember it anyway.
Remember Pepsi? That's the third time they've shown Pepsi in this movie.
Man, Ryan,
Remember
I
Pepsi?
really...
I'm pretty sure it's still a thing.
You remember it? You remember Pepsi?
Ryan, I do remember Pepsi. And sometimes when I'm feeling, parched and without energy, I think, you know what, I could really go for a Pepsi. Pepsi is a brand that... This is my ad. Basically.
Yeah.
That's the joke.
Just before
Finish
we
the joke for
get...
me. I can't be stopped.
Murder's great! Oh, look, only black man in the movie. And he has a
Where?
mustache. Right there.
I can't see Ryan. The scene...
Oh, it's nighttime. Sorry, Bartek.
That was
One of the things... That was the joke.
Yeah, that was where I was going.
Jess, we've already missed this scene, but I just want to fill you in. Our lead heroine does not want to have sex with Brad Pitt.
Because it's a rule.
Hold on.
She's gay.
No, hold on. Okay, so... Could you give us some reasonings as to what you think the reason would be? Like, give us some possibilities of why she would not want to have sex with a young Brad Pitt.
Gay. Also,
Anything else?
She might not be ready. She might still be nervous.
Good. Keep going. Give us a few more.
She's secretly suspects that he might be a serial murderer.
Well,
maybe?
she rejects him before anyone's got murdered that she's aware of. Because the only
Yeah,
person
but
that's...
maybe he does like weird things. You're like, oh,
Let-
he
let-
has a lot of dead cats.
you
a
really should
little
have been here
bit
for
strange.
Sleepwalkers.
Let's at least give it to Jess that she does suspect him later on.
Yeah, she does suspect him. Now, Jess, here's the reason that the movie gives.
Oh, no.
And it's my favorite ever. A young, hot Brad Pitt lays on top of her earlier on, kissing her, and he wants to, go further. And she stops him and goes, I won't fool around with you until you get better grades. She doesn't have sex with a guy who doesn't have good grades.
I mean, she's got standards, so... I mean,
Yeah, but meanwhile, her friend is doing cheerleading with no panties on. And we see some vag action there.
Okay, so that's kind of like home if you talk like, oh, she's gonna get...
You would rather not have sex with a guy because he gets D's, but you will go...
Well, she's not having sex with her.
No, that's true, but she is friends. And Brad Pitt throughout this movie tries his damnedest to get good grades.
Well,
I don't think I've ever seen him study so far, but okay.
There's a bit later on where he goes, might as well start studying. Ain't gonna get that basketball degree.
that is a good...
And then he gets drunk instead on some more ice cream and beer.
Well, like you said, tried his damnedest.
Sounds like my university years.
He tried his damnedest to study, but beer and ice cream and apples are just too powerful. So
we just established a minor character under the stands who looks for loose change that people drop and also likes upskirts.
well, we've already met him before.
Have we, Ryan?
Yeah, he's a part of their gang. He was at the school with them overnight.
We've already met him, audience, so we haven't just been introduced to him. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we've already met him. Don't you know this?
Now that you mention
He was
it,
the
yeah.
other guy in their gang. He's the other guy in their gang.
Right.
The one that was playing with the fax machine. I mean, the printer.
I remember now. My mistake.
You want to say we've been introduced to the black guy finally? I can see him. It's not night in the inside.
What are you talking about, Ryan? We saw him earlier outside in the night.
You got it. You nailed it.
Like, were you being racist? Ryan?
No, I'm being homophobic against a
Hey,
young
racist,
Brad
Ryan.
Pitt.
That's alliteration.
Yeah, it's a
That's
little,
what we say
it's
secretly behind your back.
Give me an alliterative name.
It's a erasure of,
Ryan, what's an adjective that begins with B that you can give to me?
biracial.
Biracial Bartek.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Great Snapchat there, Jess.
I'm not on Snapchat. I don't know what you're talking about.
Can I Snapchat? Guys, we're live chatting this. How do I do stuff? Yeah, that's it.
She can be Jess.
Guys,
Jess
we're gonna live Snapchat on Jess's
You
phone.
can't live Snapchat.
So let's send
Dad?
one to Georgia.
No, alright.
Georgia's your sister. I said it. I don't know what I did. Georgia got delivered just now. Let's do this. I'm gonna type gibberish and send it to Georgia, and then I'm also
He's never
gonna...
used Snapchat before.
She hasn't.
No, you haven't.
Okay, so I'm gonna write
Oh,
something to
no,
your sister Georgia.
Oh,
Cutting
stop.
class, currying class, currying.
God, have you ever used an iPhone before?
Curry. Hold on.
Oh, no.
So guys, to Jess's sister, I'm gonna write curry class.
This is not going to be funny to anyone but you.
Curry class is so good. That's what I'm
I
gonna
do
write.
love curry.
Now, we know Jess loves curry. Now, Jess, could you explain to the audience what it is about murder that appeals to you?
I'm like, personally, like, oh god, I'm gonna murder you if you keep doing that. I don't know, I like watching murder stories. It's quite perverse. I guess the storytelling behind it, murder's like the ultimate sin. You're an idiot.
It is a good statement. Murder is the ultimate thing, because ultimate implies it's like finality and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And murder is the finality of a life.
And then it's like the.
Do you want to murder people?
Like, you don't know what happens after death, and then you can take away someone's life.
Like I just took away Jess's phone.
Oh, I need my phone. I'm getting anxious. No, my baby. Sweet baby.
Have we ever
I need
wanted
to hold it. Can I let me touch it?
No,
Whoa.
have we ever murdered people?
Is that blood?
No, it's jelly.
Okay, I looked away for a second. There was like.
Apparently, your sister said things.
Okay, you don't know my passcode.
Give me it.
Hell no.
Ryan, you got no leverage. Oh well, you got her phone actually. So.
Give me your passcode on the public podcast. People who know you now know. Come on, type it in.
I'll give you my bank
2
details.
episodes ago, one of our friends accidentally said
Gave
his
his
address.
actual address.
What? Oh.
Want me to call the cops on this fool? Is what your sister wrote.
Oh, she's such a good sister. Isn't she sweet?
I don't know what she means. I'm currently getting a lecture about the food I have
You're just
found.
pressing anything.
I'm currently getting a lecture about the food I have found. And then I'll take a picture of Bartek and I in the mirror.
Oh,
There we go.
idiots.
They're gonna send that picture to the police now.
Now, back to the film.
I'm glad that she's like, do you want me to call the police? And you immediately get a photo of yourself. You're like,
I'm not in the
here is further
Fun
evidence.
fact. I sent Jess's sister a Snapchat of Bartek, not of myself, because I'm a legend.
Also,
Is this it? You're framing him for murder. This is why you want to talk about
Guys,
murder
I've always
so
wanted to
much?
frame someone for murder, and it's always been Bartek on this show.
but this is the genius thing about this whole Snapchat arc. We're talking about this as if we've committed a crime, but what did I say earlier is a very important element in murder mysteries?
I don't know, tell me.
Evidence. And what are we doing for this show? We are recording.
Evidence of Jess's adultery.
So if this actually does end up becoming a crime, this episode will be evidence. That's what we were trying to incorporate into the episode.
Yeah. I also really want to incorporate that in this universe that we live in today, Jess said that this other guy that isn't Brad Pitt is attractive.
He's kind of cute.
Tell me. Explain it to me, a heterosexual man, why this guy is cute.
I mean, like, probably, like, not movie standards.
No,
He's
just explain
he's
to me.
average. But if you go to, like, take him out of the movie, put him in, like, an average high school, he'd be good looking.
You want to go with him? You want to get on with him?
Yes, you know, he seems nice. He looks like he showers. He's got the hot
But
laser
for
thing going.
Movie, not pretty, right?
It's hard when you got Brad Pitt as the
Well,
other guy.
guess what? You just got fucking schooled because this movie agrees with you. Everyone thinks that this guy's far more attractive than Brad Pitt. And Brad Pitt gets antagonistic about it because his girlfriend is showing more attracted, like she's more attracted to that guy than him. And everyone thinks that this guy is physically more attractive than Brad Pitt. This universe connects with our universe in which this guy's prettier than Brad Pitt, I guess. Like, the little thing that I didn't know about Brad Pitt
You're
is
just thinking
he's
that she's
ugly.
shallow, though. He's not ugly. I think you're thinking that the girl's quite shallow. Because
No.
she won't sleep with him because he needs better grades.
No, I'm talking
So it
about
shows
the
that she
she's
cares
physically
more.
attracted to the psycho kid.
I think she's
More so than-
because she thinks he's mysterious and he might
Oh,
offer
yeah.
more, but Brad Pitt's, you know.
Yeah.
Actually,
You
have
can
we
see what you can
established the fact that he does have good grades?
This guy has great grades. He has really good grades, Jess. So
Does she know that?
yes,
Yes.
she does.
Like earlier
Well, then
when
that's obviously why
Maybe
she
she's
likes
got a
him.
grade boner.
She likes something more than a pretty face.
She likes brains.
Ryan, so if she was on a deserted island without civilization with a bunch of people, but there was like no school system, what would she do?
Well, she would
Well,
die.
you can tell intellect
No, she needs grades.
Grades specifically.
Well, if she was on an island, then she couldn't have grades.
Exactly, so she would kill herself.
Using grades as a marker in this kind of environment.
But she only operates in one environment. And I'm just trying to say is, she would be on this island and she would kill herself because they don't have grades.
So humor me on this. What if there was a really, really, really intelligent person, but they constantly got bad grades?
Yes.
Like, smartest person in the world, horrible grades. She'd pick this kid over them?
Yeah.
There we go. By the way, Ryan, is this one of the monsters that we were talking about?
She has a mustache, so the answer is yes.
I have a mustache.
Jess is zooming in, seeing if she does have a mustache.
I don't have a mustache. Would you stop bringing it up?
Did you hear what I said? Jess is zooming in, looking if she has a mustache. Oh, I meant that you're looking at the teacher, not yourself.
I was looking at my reflection just then, so I thought you were talking about my own.
I thought you were talking about her as well.
Yes.
What I meant was, oh, fuck it. Jess has a mustache and really dark, hairy arms. Her arms are hairier than mine.
Oh my god.
What I'm trying to say is Jess is actually a Greek man.
You have like 0 hair on your arms.
I have so much hair.
You have these skinny, bony arms with no hair, very pale.
Pale?
Compared to me.
Compared to Jess.
Exactly.
Jess is the palest girl I know. She's so pale she didn't even watch this movie, and we have to explain it to her. This movie is cinematic gold. It has a great scene in it later in which they go drinking more beer and ice cream. Like, there's so many scenes of beer and ice cream.
And listening people. Ryan just said there it has a great scene later, so some of you might be thinking, ooh, I should watch the movie for that great scene. But here's the twist. The whole film is a great scene.
That's right. Yeah, it's a minutia of wonderful.
I mean, I really don't know what's happening, so I guess it's great.
Yeah, well,
the murders have been a bit slow. Although I do want to jump back to when we had the basketball game and the friend without the panties and the guy who got introduced, who didn't actually just get introduced then because I was a dummy.
Dumb Bartek, we call him.
It had one of those things in murder mysteries that I like, which is where a murder can happen in a very public place, but there was some element there that made it concealed. And there, it was because the murder and the screams in retaliation to the murder happened at the exact same time that the team won the game and the crowd was going wild cheering. So it masked out the screams of, the murder happening.
Yeah.
And usually in murder mysteries, like, you don't get all the answers. Well, you don't get all the answers in this one, but that one was like a thing that in most murder mysteries was like, how could they possibly have killed them there if everyone would have heard it? And then, you deduce and you'd be like, it's because everyone was cheering. It masked the noise. So it's almost like, not only is this a murder mystery, but in a way you could say it's deconstructing them by, actually showing you some of the answers.
And it gives you red herrings like good murder mystery. You think, well, the murder took place at the gymnasium and there was pools of blood and the janitor cleaned it up and, He didn't tell anyone about the blood, so obviously he's involved, yeah? And also he's a Nazi. And so, maybe he's involved in this murder.
And actually, I didn't get to say this when the janitor first got introduced.
That he's your favourite character?
I actually haven't thought about who my favourite character is, but he would be up there. I was going to say, when he was, the whole wiping the window thing, not letting him inside, I kind of got the vibe from the two of them, they got, like, this friendly, like, kind of bickering thing going on. But then as the film goes on, you find out that he is kind of a big creep, especially in that scene right there.
What? I think he was just giving philosophy class.
He was giving philosophy class?
Yeah, about him being the fucking custodian of their destiny.
That's a good point. But what I was going to say is that scene right there, the philosophy class, as you say, Ryan, happens after, that whole scene with the blood. So it's showing you one of the suspects and making them seem even more. And
I just want to point out, look at the mise en scene in this moment. Brad Pitt is wearing red. Red is the color of blood, and you associate it with the emotion of rage and anger.
It's also the color.
Oh my god! Could it be him? Maybe Jess has cracked the case.
Could it be him, or is the red meant to symbolize red herring?
Oh!
Or maybe it's just to oppose the black that the mysterious guy's wearing.
Ooh, Jess, we're now deeper into the movie. You're still 100% on your Brad Pitt being the murderer?
I want him to be the murderer. That's why I'm going for it, not because I think he is.
Who do you think's the murderer?
I have no idea.
Come on. Someone just murdered this innocent lady.
Nah, I'm still sticking with Brad Pitt. It's Brad Pitt.
Okay, she's stuck on Brad,
And that's
aren't we all?
That's fine, because when I was watching the film, I thought it was him too.
Alright, so it's not him then?
No.
I'm not saying that
He's not
either
saying.
way, but I'm saying that when I was watching this film, my deduction said, I think it's Brad Pitt.
I think it's Brad Pitt too. That's what I also said throughout the whole entire thing. Even though I oddly enough, because I watched the YouTube video, knew the outcome of this movie.
Oh, right.
But it is still good to watch it and being like, connecting the pieces together. Look at the scene here. Brad Pitt points. He points like that. And the thing I like about that is, have we got a favorite actor or actress that we love? Do we have one each that we all like and notice what they do a lot? Like, notice them. Like, Jess, do you have a favorite actor or actress?
I love Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Bartek?
We're talking about physical.
Physical. I need physical. I need your physical.
One of my favorites is the Bollywood actor Shah Rukh Khan.
All right. What I love about like these kind of actors, your favorites, is if you see them a lot in a lot of things, no matter how good of an actor they are, they have these mannerisms and nuances that they will use time and time again. Because, you know, Bartek and I are actors, and acting is really quite, like, it's challenging, but it can be quite simple. At the same time, you're like, okay, like this. And this is never explained, by the way. Like, it's just there.
It's like a cross-dressing principle.
Yeah, and he's looking in the mirror. But what I was going to say was Brad Pitt pointed a moment ago, and in his career, when he points, this is a weird thing. He uses that point. Like he points like physically with that hand in that motion.
Also, it's not like a straight hand.
It's never like that. It's always like bent fist, and he's like always like the finger when he points it, he has to put like, it's like he's pushing it through the air so hard, like.
Oh, is it sort of kind of like you know, that bird knick-knack you have that like kind of dips into the water?
And that's what I love about actors, and we notice these a lot with the actors that we love a lot as well. So like, you know, I don't know what Jessica Chastain's tics are. I think it's like she likes wearing dark nail polish all the time. Like, I've noticed that with her. Every time I see her, she's like, different dark nail polish on. That's like her trait.
I mean, that's a very obscure thing to pick up on, but
isn't it there? Like, so's pointing, and you agreed with me about Brad. Like, when you heard me start, you were like, yeah, he does do that. Like, this is what I'm saying. These are obscure things. It's like acting. There's these little things. It's like how Brad Pitt does the point. What about you, Bartek? Does
Shah Rukh Khan
do anything in particular other than be amazing?
Shah Rukh Khan is one of the biggest actors in India, so definitely he's got a lot of recurring elements to his things. He's commonly called like the king of romance, so you know he'd have like a bunch of suave moves that he would
does he do like lovey eyes, and they're always like the same lovey eyes?
He's got eyes that he can do quite a lot of things with.
They're all holding up the picture of the dead teacher that they must have grabbed from the printer, and they're all saying this, Jess. Boo! Boo! We don't like this! Boo! What? This is not a comedy.
Actually, Ryan, I do remember, I think on the Wikipedia page, it listed this film as a black comedy in a way.
We just talked, this guy here pushed the maths teacher out of the way, and the maths teacher's now stuck there like, I want to say something too. And he can't. You're going to say it's listed as a black comedy.
Yeah, it's listed as a black comedy, and like what I was saying before about this film sort of deconstructing murder mysteries, and also with the bizarre humor of the dad's arc of trying to find help / get home, and also that one shot of the principal dressed up really weird and looking in the mirror and acting like what I'm doing here.
That's like the red herring.
Yeah, I guess from that I can see why this would be considered like a black comedy, because there are, I mean, it's played straight. When you find out who the killer is, when you find out basically all the answers to the mystery, you can say that there were funny moments in this film, but it did hit all the
beer
tropes.
and ice cream.
Like, there was the reveal, there was the final
tassels,
confrontation, and it had all the elements there. So I can definitely see it not necessarily being a straight up parody film, but I can see it being a black comedy.
Well, here's the thing that I disagree with on this. I don't think this is a black comedy necessarily. I think it's a horror film with some moments of levity. And I think the thing that people confuse a lot, and this is what it is, it's a camp movie. It's campy. You know what I mean, right? And a lot of people confuse camp with comedy.
Yeah.
Not every movie that's camp is a comedy necessarily. Like, for instance, Stephen King has a lot of campy elements in in the movies, at least, or his books, such as, like The Shining. That's a camp movie. Like, it's terrifying, but it's camp. It's got the whole, here's Johnny, and like, give me the bat so I can smash your fucking brains in. But you don't walk away from that saying it's a black comedy, do you? You say it's a horror movie with campy elements, and I think a lot of people confuse camp with comedy a lot because it's got that high energy levity to it, and a lot of people associate camp with stuff like Batman and Robin and good bad stuff like The Room and all this. Like, people have associated camp with being a bad thing as well, and a lot of movies today, especially like with blockbusters, are being criticized for not having camp enough elements in them. Like, The Dark Knight is always like used as a reference of not everything has to be dark and brooding like The Dark Knight. Sometimes you need something like fun, and that's why people like stuff like the Marvel movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, because they're camp. Guardians of the Galaxy is camp done right. But then you have something like Suicide Squad that does camp wrong because it's like, we don't know what it is.
But another reason why I would think that the black comedy label or / like, the deconstruction label might fit this film better is because looking at the time this film was made, I remember that in the 80s, there was a lot of like outrage over slasher films, like Siskel and Ebert were big over it. There was that film Silent Night, Deadly Night, which like older mothers would protest over. And I would see that like the outrage in the audience thing being, sort of like a parallel to that, but also, you got the bizarre element of they're holding up the
signs going, boo, I don't like this.
Boo, I don't like this, and also, like, someone clearly had to photocopy these so we could all get a copy.
No, I think they legitimately got them all from the printer that was still printing them out. Remember, it was like hundreds of them spewing out.
Yeah, but I thought they were, like, had multiple different ones, and they all looked the same.
No. If you actually looked at the ones they were holding, they were different faces.
Oh,
so
okay.
they were different. Like, I noticed that. I was like, a little touch there. They were just all grey, obviously. Like, they weren't the high-res ones like the other characters have that were in shots, like in the close-up shots where you could tell the graphic is hard.
I thought they were, for some reason, I thought they were all just the ones of, like, the cheek being pressed against.
No. Oh, well, the cheek's always kind of... Yeah, but no, there were different ones. There was one where she was facing the opposite way, ones with more blood, ones with less blood. If you looked carefully, like...
Yeah. And I didn't, clearly.
Some of them, it's a film. Some of them, half of them might have had just the one photo, but then they had some that had different ones just to mix it up visually, like, you know what I mean? But, like, kind of neat. I don't know. I don't think this is a comedy necessarily because, I don't know. It's very,
I wouldn't label it as a comedy.
Even a black comedy, because what is a black comedy in this style is Scream. I don't know how anyone can think Scream is a legitimate horror slasher movie when it's actually like a meta black comedy deconstruction of slasher movies. That's how I look at Scream. And this is kind of like a precursor. This is what Scream is deconstructing. This kind of movie. And this is the thing about these kind of movies, slasher movies. Do we like the slasher style horror movies? Do we like them? And if so, what is it about them that we like like, what makes a slasher movie different, like, more appealing than, like, other horror movies? Because slasher is always one of the more appealing ones in that horror genre. Why?
I'm not as big on them, but I can definitely see reasons kind of relating more to the question you asked earlier, Ryan, about why does murder appeal to us? And I answered it from the standpoint of, that it's doing something that is socially unacceptable, and with slasher films as opposed to monster films, like, we could argue that, like, monsters by their very nature do monstrous things, they kill people, and that's just what they do, like we have with Deep Rising. But with slasher films, it tends to be
titties.
It tends to be a human... human character.
It depends how many Jason movies you go in.
I was thinking, the Jason, the Freddy Kruegers, and the Mike Myers, they clearly have, Michael Myers.
He doesn't really have, he gets more, I don't know,
It's like, you can't kill them, that's the whole thing with those big names. So I suppose, giving them this human-ish touch, and the fact that they're relentless, unstoppable, but not necessarily the Terminator.
Yeah, not everyone's Terminator. Jess, what about you? Slasher films. Do you like them? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
I'm not a huge fan. It's just a bit
Do you like horror
too
movies?
much. Yeah, I do. I like kind of these kinds of campy 80s. Terrible movies, yeah.
But
Like
do you
good
like
ones.
good horror movie? Like, you know, like in the style of like a horror movie that's actually legitimately supposed to be good? Like, let's
No,
actually
I like
good.
ones, you know, like, I don't know if you've seen that one, like Chopping Mall, or
No, I
that's
don't
what it's
know.
called, whereas it's like robots that are meant to be security guards for a shopping mall. Anyway, they ended up.
Oh,
like-
that's terrible. I said a good
Oh,
one.
look at this scene. Look
Anyway,
at this
they,
scene.
they murder people, and
Oh,
it's
no,
just
he's
it's
trying to
so
shoot him with an
ridiculous,
arrow.
It kind of comes up funny.
You personally, Jess, you like more psychological thrillers, don't
Yeah.
you? Like, Jess was like, one time she came back from like Melbourne Film Festival or whatever, and Melbourne International Film Festival, she's like, oh guys, one of the greatest scary movies that I saw was this movie called The Gift with Jason Bateman.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie.
You said you saw it.
Mm-mm.
You lied then,
I
Jess.
think you're remembering incorrectly. I haven't
No,
seen that movie.
you said you saw it, and you were like, the fact you haven't seen it, Ryan, means that you're behind the curve. And I'm like, oh, I guess I got to see it. She said she loved it.
It might be.
Do you know which one it is?
I know the movie. It's the one Joel Edgerton did.
Yeah, Jolie Boy.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
You lied. Hey, everyone, fun fact: Jess is a liar.
I think you're remembering it incorrectly.
I remembered it with complete clarity.
I saw It Follows there. That's a really good one.
I still haven't
Horror
seen
movie?
It Follows.
Because you never actually see the monster, which is a really cool thing.
Oh, that's all good
Invis-
horror
it's an
movies.
no, it's an-
Jaws, my favorite
No,
horror.
Like
the,
this one.
the monster is invisible. It's like
I know.
literally invisible.
So Ryan, what is your take on the slasher genre?
I don't think I have much of one because, to be honest, horror movies aren't my bag. Really, like, there's
Yeah.
nothing against it. It's just I grew up with more watching other types of movies, comedies in particular, and more, you know, your crime, Tarantino style kind of movies, that kind of thing. So I never really grew up with horror movies, not really. So, and slasher movies, no, not really. And when I do, I watch the ones that are more taking the piss out of them, if anything. So like Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
So again, comedies.
So again, comedies that use horror to boost, you know, so I'm really like the wrong guy to come to when we do horrors, but that's why I wanted to cover horror movies.
I'm
It's
similar,
scary
yeah.
because I, you know, need to educate myself, you know, what it
It's
is,
like an acceptable way to see something that's so forbidden and
like titties.
no, not titties. You can see titties easily, but like
No,
murders.
acceptable, you said.
No, it's an acceptable way to see something that is,
What?
you know, completely abhorrent and, you know,
Hmm.
seen by...
Jess, I got an important question for you. My girlfriend Rachel asked this while watching this, which was, why do women in films like this always have granny panties on? Like this girl.
It's to, like, show her virginal kind of status.
Oh yeah. When you were a virginal status kind of girl, did you wear only granny panties?
When I was on my period, yeah.
Is she on her period?
She
Is that what
could
you're
be.
trying to state to me?
I
Did you
was
wear
saying-
white granny panties?
Yeah, well, you wear the ugly panties when you know no one's going to see them.
Yeah, I know, but
Or-
white ones?
I don't know.
I'm asking you
I'm
wore
more,
panties,
I'm more
yeah?
of a Bonds girl, to be honest. They're like the
Do they not
comfortable
have
ones.
white? Like,
Well,
I'm
these
saying
were the
white as in
80s.
the colour.
These are cute though. Look, they got lace on them.
Yeah, I know, but the back of them is like, hello, grandma.
I think that was the style of the time. You kind of wear the ugly ones when you know someone's not going to see them, and you plan for no one to see them. So I think that's what
Ah, see, us guys, we're simple. If they just cover, that's it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was
We got the external genitals, you see, so we actually need underwear more.
there was a stand-up comedian, I can't remember which one, that had this whole thing of like men will wear underwear until it's literally like dissolved.
Yeah, yeah, where you have to
Oh, no.
scrape it off of
thinking.
them. I scraped off my underpants the other day. Yeah, that kind of thing. So, Jess, have you ever been pursued by a possible psycho killer when you were naked and then he convinced you to trust him by him saying, stab me in the neck if you think I'm the killer?
No, I had someone try and murder me once, but he was like off his head, and
Oh, yeah?
he put a meat cleaver to my front door. He kind of like tried
Who?
to.
Why?
He was off his head. It was the next
Did he-
door neighbor.
Did he know you?
Yeah. He called us like because my mum was very Christian. He's like, "Are you crazy?" effing Christians.
And he showed you.
Yeah. He went off
Free
his
cleaver.
meds, but he never was like, trust me afterwards. I mean, he was all like, gonna murder you, and then he went.
And then he went
court,
away.
and then he came back because they found him mentally insane, and so they were like,
Nothing you can do.
yeah, you can still live next door, but we're going to create this invisible boundary, and you're not allowed to cross this bridge. And it's like, well, if he goes off his head, of course he's going to cross the goddamn bridge.
Did he?
I mean, he tried to kill someone else, but it was like on his land, so I guess he did keep to the rules.
Oh, he
but
actually kept to the rules.
He kept to the rules, but he did.
So
try
you were prejudiced.
He did no, but he did try and murder again, so they probably should have locked him up.
Well, it was on his land. You know, they could have been breaking in.
No, it was his friend. I think he went off his head and he decided to just hunt him.
Yeah, but
with
you're
his shotgun.
judging, you know. In this movie,
No, that's not-
people
that's
think
not the
it's a
point.
psycho kid because he's a killer, but
If a guy did that to me, I am putting came up when I was naked in the bathroom, I'm gonna put scissors in the side of his neck. Like,
oh, so you would have killed our psycho kid, even though you think
100%.
Brad Pitt did it, and she also thinks Brad Pitt could
Yeah,
have
we've
some
just,
inklings.
We've just entered the
why
fourth.
is he watching her sleep?
Because he's
Like-
got to bite his nails.
This is like 10 billion red flags. This girl should die because she's really stupid.
She's actually really smart.
If a guy comes into your bathroom when you're half naked and showering,
Well, pretty much naked.
She wasn't
pretty
showering,
much
though.
naked.
She was
washing
having a
her hair.
bath.
I actually
She
thought
was,
she was.
washing her hair in the bath, but not getting in the bath.
When I first watched the movie, I thought she was praying.
At the bath.
Just to be extra virginal.
With her tits out. God, thank you for these. And they're like, God's like, they're not that impressive.
But you're welcome.
But, you know, I guess you're welcome. You got two of them. You
I mean,
know,
God
nips
created
are
them.
there.
Yeah.
You know, created you in my image. Well, man, to be honest. You know, whatever. You know, you came from a rib. Good job. You know, like. And then she's like, thanks, God. High five. No, I don't give high fives. I only give them to people with good grades.
Oh, look at this damned evidence. Damning
It's
evidence.
a really good photocopier. Like, it's really good considering it also has no lid.
We haven't really established it for Jess, but one of the earlier recurring elements of the film is that she really wanted Brad Pitt's ring.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So now she's seen the ring and she's like, my boyfriend.
You know why there's a ring, don't you?
Because it's like the class ring, isn't it?
Yeah, but you know how the ring is there? Like,
Is he a quarterback or something like that? I don't know.
no, like how this photo came to be. Do you think it's because Brad Pitt squashed her head into the fucking photocopier and he got his ring scanned
but
on
he
it?
was like standing at the photocopier, when
Lifting
everyone
her head up,
when
yeah.
everyone found her. So
So, this is a great scene. He's saying, fuck you, and fuck you! And what does he say back? Fuck you too, buddy.
And then he's like, teachers can't say that to students.
You can't say that to a student. And then he's just like, fuck you. And then Brad Pitt, this is the best way, I reckon he improvises. Watch his bag during this scene. What does he do? Fuck you! Boing, it's gone. And there it is. Like, he's about to trip over it. No, and then he grabs it. The scene keeps going, Jess. They're like, Brad, do anything you want. Yeah, touch the flag. Fuck
it.
yeah! Take that bag! It's his own bag.
Wait, Ryan, did you say flag?
Uh-oh. Are you going to tell me this emotional scene's going to incorporate the flag?
Yeah, America.
America!
America and a gym teacher who's all alone?
Uh-oh. The janitor's attacking him.
Yeah, because he thinks he's the murderer.
But then she's like, but you're a Nazi. And he's like, got me there.
And she's trying to tell him, no, don't kill him. Then she runs away.
And then he goes, I'm going to vote for Trump. Vote lodged in 1989.
30 years. Oof.
30 years of making America great again, Jess. No?
And
Is
he,
this the great they want to go back to?
The Nazi great, yeah.
and then he used his janitor magic to appear out of a separate door.
No. He knows the schools in and out.
Yeah, janitor magic, like knowing the passageways.
Yeah. Now what's this? Now just for context, during this scene, the American national anthem plays on electric wailing guitar.
Oh my god.
This is the best death in the movie, by the way.
What? You can't murder someone.
What's
like
this?
that. Oh no.
Yeah. Oh, the flag's going.
What do you think's gonna happen?
What do you think's gonna happen, Jess?
He's gonna get stabbed in the back with the American flag, isn't
Back.
he? Oh no.
I love how it's clearly like behind him, and they're like perspective.
No.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's still alive. Oh.
Take that, Hitchcock from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That would teach you to be a teacher who says fuck you to a student. And that's how you deal with bad teachers. You murder them all.
Or, as is going to happen to the maths teacher, something
God,
else.
mice.
Oh my god, mice.
This is the worst.
And
scene
then
of the
this
whole
is a
movie.
scene, so it's like, okay, so the bodies must be suspended on something, yeah? Look, because they're not touching the floor. They're like, oh, all right, they're suspended. But then she pushes them over, and there's nothing holding them.
Yeah, I think I saw one of their legs move too.
Yeah, and then their legs, that's what I said, like, what are their feet moving? They look shocked, though. They look shocked. Like, they like...
Well, they were screaming while being
One of
filmed.
them's like, I wasn't supposed to stand. Now, she thinks it's him now.
Okay.
And so she's running away. She's like, my friends are dead because Brad Pitt murdered them all. You know, I love the 80s fashion of girls where they wear like
Who's gonna be around the corner?
The big top, but like the short shorts, and there's always like a pastel-y white, and they got like the jumper tied around.
It's actually good costuming. Like it's not too over the top.
No, it isn't. It's like it's very like good. Like one of the reviews I think I have said the wardrobe fashion was terrible in the haircuts, and I think it's like because it's nearing.
It's kind of realistic.
When this was filmed, it was during the mid-'80s, but I think it's actually kind of like that good period of the 80s where the fashion style doesn't make you go, oh, this is so 80s that it's kind of annoying. It's like, you could tell me that this was from the 90s and I'd believe you if I looked at it from just a visual standpoint, but the film itself is a very 80s type of film.
Yeah.
Do we like, I made the jokes at the start or the statement that I love the 80s. Do we like the 80s?
It's got a really cool, like, look to it. Like, it's not my favorite GTA game, but Vice City is often considered one of
No,
those.
the 80s is my least favorite GTA game.
Well, no, but
I mean, we didn't have to live through them, so we can like pick and choose what elements we kind of like from the 80s.
No,
And also, we only really get to experience it through, if not like footage that someone happened to be recording on a camera.
Pop culture.
Pop culture, like
Nostalgic,
representations
yeah.
rather than actual footage. So, in a way, I guess it's this whole idea of like, oh, the glorifying a certain older decade.
Yeah, the oldest, you know, like we can't. But you know what decade
Roaring
never
20s.
got that? The 70s. People have the glory of the 50s and 60s. Skip 1970s. Only that 70s show does it.
But the 70s is all about like disco and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, but no one does it as much as like it never. Like what I'm saying is in the pop culture zeitgeist of
60s and 80s
incorporating
definitely,
and the 50s because people have that 50s
yeah.
ideal and whatever. But the 70s just gets skipped over. Like that's when punk happened. That's when David Bowie glam happened.
They went to the 70s in gold, remember?
Yes, they did. Yeah. Well, you got me there. If Austin Powers covered it. Now, they got the maths problem here, Jess. What happens is you have to choose a door, and whatever door you choose, there's one that will kill you and one that will live. And the maths teacher has to do this maths equation to figure out what the answer is.
We should just
He's
also
gonna die, right?
We should also
He's a maths teacher, of
we
course.
should
he's gonna
also
get it right.
establish one other thing that we forgot to mention is a running thing with this maths teacher is that he keeps asking the 2 trains are coming, those kind of maths questions, like at what time do they pass each other, those kind of questions.
This one's what time do they collide? And he's like, oh, give me time.
Yeah, and he was really arrogant about whenever Brad Pitt would get the answer wrong, but now here he's under pressure and stressed, and he's like, I'm not ready.
I like the fact that he's trying to figure it out and she just keeps screaming and pushing him and interrupting, and he's like, just shut up! I need to think for 1 second, and she doesn't do it. She just keeps, it's like, give me fucking a second here, and she's like, no, I'm gonna keep interrupting you because I'm annoying.
And it's understandable that he's getting annoyed, but also we're not really led to like this character, so it's this kind of weird thing.
Right, well, he's got a bow tie. I like him.
Yeah, well, I mean, we like him because, he's entertaining to watch, but as in terms of, like, likable characters, you kind
He's
of...
an asshole.
You're meant to think of him as an asshole.
He's angry, but he's not...
Either it's what I just said, that's the case, or it's another deconstruction.
Or, little do we know the character's written to be nice, but the actor was just really angry the day that they filmed him.
And he thinks the answer is door 1.
It's the answer's door 1, Jess, because, you know, obviously the trains collide at 1 o'clock. And look at this.
If he's wrong, he'll be dead.
If he's wrong, he'll die.
He's going through the door through first. If he goes through first, then he dies.
And look at this. Look, it's okay. He got it. You know? He nailed it. Oh my god, it's a Psycho Kid.
Oh, it is.
So who's the
kid.
killer?
It's a Psycho Kid,
Wait,
Jess.
it's a psycho kid after all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you
The
serious?
entire movie is saying it's the Psycho Kid, and then
It was
it
the
makes you
Psycho
think for
Kid?
a second that it could be Brad Pitt, and then no, it's Psycho Kid,
It's psycho
and then he's
kid.
crazy.
Are you?
You want to know his motivation? People said I was a killer, so I became a killer.
Oh my god, men are idiots.
Hashtag men are idiots, but also he said this lead chick was an idiot, so women are idiots too.
Oh, see,
Hashtag
she should
equality.
have fucking stabbed him when he came into her bathroom half naked.
Well,
The movie would have literally ended right then and there.
You're being Captain Hindsight now.
I thought you were going to say Captain
I
Hyman, and I'm
told-
like, years
I
ago.
said 5 minutes ago she should have murdered him. And I
Well, Jess, I'm sorry that she wasn't you.
would have murdered him.
You would not.
I would have hurt him.
The high school you wouldn't have been in this story. From what you describe. You're not even good enough for Roddy McDowall to look at your ass, apparently.
I bet you don't even
I would've
pray in
been
front
And
of
that guy is in Planet of the Apes.
I would have hidden in the library and stayed in the library.
Did you have a habit of praying in front of bathtubs?
She was very Christian when she was younger, yeah?
No, we prayed at the dinner table at church.
And at bed?
At bed, yeah.
I was going to say, if you're not doing it at the bed, then you're getting something wrong.
It took ages to get out of it though, because it became such a habit, and I felt guilty every time I didn't do it. I'm like, I know I don't believe in this, but
When I was Jess and I used to live together, you know, and when we were living together, it was like the slow revelations of how... No, we loved each other.
oh fuck off.
We were married. Jess and I, when we were married, I became a very slow revelation.
Your girlfriend listens to this, so
She knows.
Should we open the door and say, hey, they're exes?
Yeah.
spoiler alert, I was actually having enough of Rachel the whole time.
I was watching, so
Sorry.
of course I knew. Nothing says holy matrimony like
Oh.
3 ways. So, you know, because Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Like, that's 3.
That's a trinity.
That's the Trinity. yeah, that's what we called our 3 ways, the Trinity time.
God.
So Jess and I were married.
Does Ryan need
And
Jesus?
when I was married to Jess, I slowly found out each day that she was more and more a secret undercover Christian. And I was like, why have you not just mentioned it?
Rehabilitating Christian.
Yeah, but every now and then you would come at us with like super hardcore Christian things and we're like, what? And then you would get embarrassed and be like, ignore what I just said
No.
and giggle and then walk away and we're like, I don't know. One time we were just listening to music. This is true. One time we were
No,
just
it
all...
was-
Hold on, Jess. We were all listening to music and just like, oh, I know this doesn't match the tone. And the answer is yes, it didn't match the tone. It's like, I know it doesn't match the tone, but could we play this? And she just played one of her favorite, like, hymns.
Are you sure you're not getting me mixed up?
No,
with
that was
Cassie?
you. No, that was you. You were like, oh, I really love this hymn.
I don't
And I'm like,
have
oh
any-
my god.
Like, I don't know. I feel like you're...
No, that was
making
you.
this up.
100% true.
I don't have anything
Bartek,
like that, though.
open the door and get my girlfriend Rachel to
yeah,
verify
honestly,
this.
God, I don't have anything.
Rachel, could you come make another cameo?
We need my now wife to confirm the alleged story that took place.
Hymns are something from like Christian.
Right, hold on.
Like
Yes.
Catholic, not Christian.
Whatever. Rachel,
Yes.
at one point during our time living with Jessica Trewin, did she not interrupt us listening to music so she could play one of her favorite hymns?
No.
What was it? It was a church song. It was like, let's...
Yeah, you started to play your favorite Hillsong hymns on your phone.
Yep.
'Cause we were having a conversation about the fact that you were being dragged to a church service by a friend.
Oh yeah, and I
The
was
following
trying.
And
day.
we were
Yeah,
listening,
and
and
you
Mark and I, our previous housemates, were just listening to music. You guys were talking about
No.
that, and it was like, hey guys, I want to play one of my
No,
favorite
no,
hymns.
no. But you were ragging on the church, and I was like, it's not as bad as what you kind of think.
Yeah.
And then you played the worst hymn ever.
It's not a hymn. It's like I was trying. You were
What are they
like,
called?
you didn't understand.
What are they? What's Hillsong
They're called
songs?
songs. They're called music.
Yeah, hymns are songs.
They're not hymns.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
All right, thanks,
There is.
Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel, for proving my point.
It's a difference that just makes.
I like
us
how
feel
Bartek and I
better.
just look at each other like,
Well, no, I know that there is a difference, but I can't remember exactly what it is.
one of them's less churchy than the other.
Well, and like
They're kind of like
hymns,
formed differently.
Yeah, hymns have a different song structure.
Oh, that's it. God, what's a hymn? It's when I sing to you. Oh, thanks, God. So, verified, Jess loves hymns. That's all I was trying to say.
No, well, it could be that
That's
she
not
loves
it at all.
songs.
She loves songs.
And you love songs,
No,
right?
because
about-
you were doing this, like how you're kind of doing now, how you're ragging on the church. And then I was like, no, it's not as bad as you
My
think.
ragging of the church was, you're a member of the church? Yes,
No.
I am. Can we listen to a hymn now?
I was, because I didn't listen to that music.
Remember 5 minutes ago when she denied that this event ever took place?
No, because I don't listen to that music, I don't have it, like, ready. I'm just
No,
showing you.
we had to go to YouTube
Yeah, because I don't
and get it because you're like, this is one of my faves.
Oh, it was on YouTube.
Yes, because
You made
I
it sound
see-
like she had it on, like, saved on
Yeah,
her
see?
phone.
I don't actually have
It doesn't
on my
matter. When
phone.
you have a smartphone, you can say that they own anything on there because you can just get anything like
guess-
that. It's as you can get it as quickly as if you opened up your program
You're
to
right.
play
I know,
music.
it's
Listening
just
correctly.
implications, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're not hymns. They're
I
songs.
Right, it's alright,
accept
don't worry
your
about it.
apology. Thank you.
This is a really dangerous fight scene. And also, I just want to
This
point
is the
out.
climax.
This is what I want to point out. He's wearing bowling shoes. The psycho. He's wearing throughout the whole movie. He's been wearing bowling shoes and rides a bike with the tassels.
I think I kind of like it more now that I know he's the crazy person the whole time, because I think it's funny that this psycho was riding around on a
On a bike with tassels,
tassels.
wearing bowling shoes, looking like
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
I think, oh, this is kind of funny. He's not just weird, he's like insane.
Well, he's insane because
Like, he's not just a weirdo, he's fully insane. And it's kind of
in the membrane, got no brain.
I mean, I don't know if he's actually insane, maybe he's just a killer. Doesn't
He's
mean
actually insane. He's insane.
Doesn't mean if he's a killer, doesn't mean he's insane.
Well, we didn't mention what he. If we had subtitles, yeah, this is tricky. He had this whole thing of like how, I didn't want to kill my father. I just wanted to hurt him.
Oh yeah, just
Maybe he's
here's
crazy.
why he's after Brad Pitt.
Because he likes the girl?
And no, the girl brings this up. Who
likes
taught
Brad Pitt.
him how to cut brake lines? Because his dad's brakes got cut and he died. Who taught this 6-year-old how to cut brake lines?
Is Brad Pitt
And it was Brad
crazy?
Pitt. It was Brad Pitt taught him how to cut brake lines. And he blames Brad Pitt partially, but he never, when questioned,
Oh, this
said,
girl isn't doing anything.
well, she
Oh,
can't. The guy's got clamps around his neck.
Fucking throw something at his head.
No. Can't.
Oh, she's
Clamp around the neck. But
so
just,
stupid.
see, Psycho
Oh.
Kid, he was a true friend. When they asked, who taught you how to cut brake lines, he said, friends don't rat out on each other. And that's why he's really upset that Brad Pitt didn't remain his friend after all these years, He didn't even rat out on him. Have you got a friendship like that? Like if someone that you know as a friend took advice from you and they accidentally killed someone with that advice, would they be like, oh, I'm not going to tell because friends? Do you have a friend like that?
You're not at fault because you...
But do you have a friend like that?
No, I just be like, well, bitch, you're in mental hospital, so you're crazy, so I'm just going to deny
No,
everything.
you know what I'm saying, right? Do you know what I'm asking? I'm saying, do you have a friend that's like so bonded with you that if you murdered someone or they murdered
you
someone,
just-
they would be like,
Well, you stole my
help you-
phone just before, and my sister was immediately like,
So-
you want me to call the cops?
I said friend, not sister.
She's my friend.
No, because relatives are obviously going to take your side on things more so.
No, my parents would be like, bitch, you're in prison.
In normal circumstances, family stick together more so than necessarily a friend. That's why I'm saying like this is kind of cool. Like he has such a bond with his friend that he thinks. Like all I'm trying to ask is, do you have a friend that's not a sister that would cover for a murder for you?
Yeah. Don't you have any friends like that?
Yes, Bartek.
Would you, though?
If I murdered Jess right now, he would cover for me. You'd
Would
say
you-
they were hymns.
Well, there's evidence, Ryan, so they'd find out I'm a liar quickly.
What do you mean? I'm not gonna do it right on the podcast. Like the podcast would end with thuds of the microphone of that being hit into a skull.
What would be your motivation to murder Ryan?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really.
What,
know.
you need a good motivation whether you decide to defend him or not.
It's about how badly.
Oh, well, I'll give you it. We have a guest that didn't watch the movie. That's how bad.
And I also killed his childhood pet.
No, he doesn't care about that. He cares about how you affect him in the process too.
You need like a moral reasoning to support. Like,
I have moral reasoning.
it's not just enough that you're friends. You're like, you needed to have a good reason to murder. Then I'll support
Ryan,
you.
basically, if you're guilty, man.
I'm not guilty. She provoked me.
If you're not guilty, then you're not guilty. But if you're guilty, you're guilty.
That's how the law works. Case closed. No grey areas. No manslaughter.
Didn't I tell you that I'm a judge?
I thought you were going to say, did I tell you I'm a Jehovah's Witness? I'm like, do tell, Bartek. Everyone's kind of revealing their secret Christians to me.
Yeah, but I'm a judge, not a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, this is the best line.
Yeah.
Looks like someone's in survival class. He's witnessed a guy just die. Before, he tried to stop the psycho kid. Now he's watching the psycho kid get killed, and he's like making all these jokes about like, hey, look, he's looking at her ass.
Oh my god, he's probably watching them the whole time and not caring.
Yeah, he's probably like, they got this covered. I'm a Nazi.
He believes in them. He's supporting them with his heart.
But Jess, I hear you asking, what about the dad? What's happening with him?
I'm sure we'll find out.
What's happening? Is he still alive? It's been a while since we've seen him crawling through the dirt. I hope he's okay. You know, he's got to be the principal in Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You know, I hope he's fine.
I mean, if he dies in this movie, it doesn't mean he dies in the other movie. But
No.
you don't know how
No, it's
movies work?
method
Okay.
acting.
Okay, he is actually going to
It's called a snuff film. It's where they kill the act. You know that, right? You know those are films, yeah? Jess?
He's not actually...
You know those are actual films, yeah?
No, he's not going to die.
Do you know that?
He's not going to die.
I've seen the movie, so
He's
you don't
not
know.
gonna-
Here he is. Jess, do you know that? You know? Oh, right. So you're saying people haven't died in making films? Tell that to Bruce Lee's son.
On purpose.
Well, what do you mean?
Like, they actually killed themselves for the...
Well, he didn't kill himself. He got killed.
Yeah, but he didn't willingly do it for the sake of the movie.
No, we
I
don't
think then
know.
that becomes like a
No one
documentary.
knows who put that bullet in the gun.
Well,
That's a fact.
wasn't it?
I mean, it was the props go, wasn't
Wasn't it that they didn't know that blanks could be lethal?
No. At that
it's
time,
stupid.
it was like a proper, like, yeah. No, they had their proper things to do it, but the props guy for The Crow put, like, a live, like, projectile
Okay.
into it, accidentally.
Poor Brandon.
He dead. But you know who isn't dead? The dad, because he lives in this movie, Jess. Because, you know, he's a method actor, and his character had to stay alive, so he's fine. Or is he, Jess? He's on top right there. He could fall, and it could be like, you know, in The Simpsons where Homer falls down the cliff and just keeps going.
It'd be kind of funny.
Well, Homer
I
lived.
mean, probably not for her.
It's her dad. Oh, look, he did fall. But,
Ryan,
uh-oh.
Could I just,
No.
demonize you for a bit? Like,
Demon
shun you. How could you give the spoiler that Homer lives in the single-digit season?
Yeah.
Now people aren't going to want to watch into, like, season 26 because they'll know Homer's
No,
still
when
there.
in season 27, when Homer wakes up in hell and he actually died in that no, when Marge wakes up and she's like, oh, when Homer died, and it's all been like the end of Roseanne. That's how Roseanne ends. It's like, wait, just the movie
Now
literally,
you're really spoiling it.
just the movie literally ends with them saying, Dad, we killed the kid because he's a psycho, and he's like, I know, he tried to kill me, and then he goes, wait a moment, are you cutting class?
And then she
And then-
smiles.
The music stops.
Movie freezes.
Freezes, credits roll, and 80s music plays.
Oh, dear.
You know what's great is no one really cut class.
No, they weren't actually cutting
Yeah.
class because the school, fun fact, the school was a day off because there was the memorial for the dead teacher that got
the vice
squished.
principal.
Yeah, the deputy
For the
principal.
moustache.
So they named it so they could have that line at the end.
Well, no, it was one of his rules. Cutting class, don't cut class.
So they didn't cut class.
And it's also a pun or play on words because it's a slasher film set in the classroom setting. Think about it, like a lot of slasher films that are around high school is usually at camp or in their homes, not really in the high schools themselves, which is kind of weird. It seems like a wasted opportunity. Like, think about it. Like,
Yeah, it's a big institution.
the Friday the 13th movies take place in their homes, more so, or in their dreams, but not in the school grounds
Yeah.
as much.
Dream was in their homes. Heathers was in their different places. Wasn't
Heathers is also a comedy. You wouldn't say that's a proper slasher film. That's a comedy. I mean, Winona Ryder comes out of that movie covered in, like, smoke and ash, dripping with blood, smoking a cigarette, and they're like, where did you come from? Hell. It's like, it's
Kinda
not.
great.
Alright.
How are you feeling? I feel like someone fucked me with a chainsaw. It's like, it's a comedy.
She's another actress. You know how you were saying before had the same mannerisms.
Yeah, Winona Ryder has the mannerisms of kleptomania. She just steals things all the time.
Hey guys, remember the snake earlier in the film?
Yeah.
Remember how, we thought, oh, our psycho kid is going to find the dad, but no, he found a snake.
Yeah.
Maybe he knew the dad was there. Maybe this is now a retrospective hint or foreshadowing that he was the bad guy all along.
Oh my god, the film really foreshadowed all of this by telling us that he came from a mental institution for killing his own dad. I mean, and that her dad, the DA, was the one that prosecuted him.
I don't know, I think I'm kind of disappointed that it was him the whole time, because it's not a...
No, think about
It
it.
takes away the twist. They think they're being...
Nah, think about it. Think about it. The twist is that you think the film is going to make a twist. Because think about it. You're walking in thinking, oh, it's the kid that came from a mental institution, right?
That's the easy answer.
That's the easy answer. And then they let you to be able to think it's going to be Brad Pitt. But then that's too obvious as well.
Yeah.
So then it's like, actually, no, you thought it was this person. It's actually this person, which is the whole thing about murder mysteries, is you
But
think
it's
it's going to be
kinda like-
this, but it's actually this. They did it, but in this kind of
But it's
fashion.
still telling you the end of the movie at the start of the movie, and it's like...
Yeah, but that's how a good murder mystery works. Like, you don't think about it. A murder mystery has to be good when you rewatch it, you can connect the dots and it makes sense that person was the murderer.
But you want to be like, oh, I didn't even think it could be them, but you did think it could be them.
Well, no, in
The
a
guy.
murder mystery, you think it's anyone.
Yeah, but when it finally revealed, it's never like, oh my god, it was him.
Could you, okay, just before we start the
didn't
reviews,
think that.
could you name a murder mystery that had the actual murderer as a cast member? Like, for instance, you wouldn't say Seven, because in Seven, Kevin Spacey shows up to reveal that it's him. Like, in one where it's like the murderer, like in Midsummer Nights and all that kind of stuff, in a movie where you were genuinely surprised that it was that person that was the murderer. Because I can't think of a movie in a very long time.
Broadchurch. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah.
You meet the murderer in like the first episode.
I was also, I picked it in True Detective, the first season, who was
Yeah.
the murderer. I actually picked it. But that's the thing, like, I don't think there's really a murderer that reveal that I've ever been truly surprised by.
One of the whole things about, I guess, mysteries in general, but also murder mysteries is when all of the main players of the story have been introduced within the first act. So it's like playing on this whole like, oh, here are all the suspects. If all of a sudden the answer is, oh, it's not one of the suspects, you can kind of feel cheated out of it a bit.
I mean, it depends, obviously some of them, it's more the mystery of discovering who, like, like, for instance,
American
like...
serial like those kind of like Criminal Minds shows. It's always the guy you find at the end of the investigation.
Yeah, same with like movie 7. It's like they're trying to figure out who this mysterious, well, because they're but yeah, I understand too. Like I would like to see them and be like, oh, of course,
Because another thing to consider with murder mysteries is, film, it's a passive genre you watch, but with murder mysteries you can kind of play along with them. Like you can kind of try piecing things together yourself. So, and if you are that type of person, having, oh, it was this guy you've never seen before, kind of cheats you out of the game a bit. It's like
one of
unfair.
the best reveals in a murder mystery, and it's also like one of the most famous, and it's also kind of shocking and kind of feels like a trick, but it also works, is Murder on the Orient Express, where everybody did
I was about
it.
to say Agatha Christie does.
Where everybody
that
did it?
Stuff.
Where everybody did it, and I said, like, the new Murder on the Orient Express is coming out this year, and the marketing for it is like, everyone has a secret, like that kind of thing, and I'm like, it's because, like, how do you market one of the most famous reveals ever?
And they'll change it, maybe.
No, you can't. Like, it's too iconic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like changing, like, even the new Sherlock TV show doesn't change the elements of those stories.
Yeah, but they're not-
It changes
Those
the
aren't
tone.
as well known though.
Sherlock Holmes?
No, like the stories aren't as well known as the 10,000 adaptions of the Murder of the Orient Express.
I'm gonna
You know how it's always
disagree.
showing on a Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Sherlock's mysteries are still pretty famous.
Have you heard of the stories before you watched that show?
Yes, Murder. Yeah,
But
Hound of the Baskervilles. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what
Any
you're kind of
others?
what you're kind of talking about here is that Murder in the Orient Express is a standalone story that doesn't have like prequels, sequels, or multiple millions of cases. Whereas I think you said that Sherlock Holmes does have multiple millions of cases, and
Poirot has millions of cases as well.
And even if you are familiar with them, you wouldn't necessarily know every single one.
But in the Victorian area where Agatha Christie and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, it's basically like, you know, Miss Marple and Sherlock Holmes would just wander into a place, and a crime would also be happening at the same time, and they're like, I reckon I could solve this. That's a lot of them. Sherlock gets hired a lot more, but it's basically like Murder on the Orient Express is just Poirot on a train. And he's like, people getting murdered. I like my mustache. Bartek, let's get straight into the reviews, you know? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Jess first. Jess, what did you think of Cutting Class? I imagine you loved it.
You said, I'm going to go, and then you're like, Jess first. I'm like, oh, whoops.
I'm going to go with Jess first. Loved it? The reveal great?
No, I've seen better bad movies that I've enjoyed more in that kind of genre era, and I get really annoyed especially when they write female characters as being stupid.
But is this the best film that you have seen for the first time without sound?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any others that I've seen without sound.
When you get drunk, your hearing gets real bad, so...
Oh, well then I've seen like a lot. This is definitely not the best one then.
Rating? 5 stars?
I'm gonna give it 1.5 stars out of 5.
Can I talk you up to 2?
Absolutely not. We're not doing this again.
Can I talk you up to 3?
Look, 1 star is for...
It's unappreciated.
Brad Pitt's, like, cheekbones alone.
She's saying it's number 1, Ryan.
Yeah, there you go. It's number 1 in her favourite films. Bartek, let's hear from you.
This film is a brilliant film. I think that...
I'm trying to keep quiet and I'm just, like, going down in my chair. I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen to this. Okay.
This film is a brilliant film. Say it again.
Alright, I'll be quiet this time.
She won't.
This film is a brilliant film. I think that it completely nailed what it was trying to do. It had a murder mystery, and it was made, it was made in 1989, which for people like Ryan and myself, and I suppose Jess as well, I don't know what you...
She's not human, so...
She's not a ghoul, though, but so,
I'm full robot bitch.
She's corporate bitch, yeah.
Not anymore, I got fired!
For certain young fools like ourselves, we see the 1980s as a time long before us. You know, the era where at the very end we had films like Cutting Class, we had Bill and Ted, we had Saved by the Bell, we had a lot of these late 80s things, and they seem like another world to us. And in a way, they seem kind of simpler. They seem like... It kind of relates to what we were talking about with DC earlier in this episode, where we were saying that, there's not as much camp anymore, things feel overly serious, whereas here, it did kind of feel like a simpler time, and at least for me, thinking that the film was gonna... have this whole twist of like, oh, we're just gonna mislead you about this really obvious culprit, and it's gonna be Brad Pitt. That was me saying, I see where you're going with this. Yep, come on, bring it at me. And then they're like, ha! We thought you'd think that, so we actually made it the first way.
Take that!
And it kind of plays on that whole gag of like when someone's trying to outsmart someone else, and they kind of go like, oh, I'm not gonna switch the poison mug with the real one because they'll think that I did that. But wait, then they'll think that I'll think that they'll do that, so I shouldn't. But no, then they'll think it's kind of playing on that thing. But it's not going to the full ridiculous route of like a million layers. It's just the two. They think I'll think this, so I'll do this. It's a very brilliant, simple trick that they're doing. But even then, you might be saying, well, look, anyone can do a brilliant, simple trick. Doesn't mean the film's going to be good. Guess what, guys? The film's good.
Simple is best sometimes.
The film is a great film. It plays on, kind of typical tropes, like the slutty girl dies, horny guy also dies, got the virginal. Well, she wasn't really a damsel in distress.
No, she stood up for herself.
Virginal
She
hero.
didn't do anything to the last 2 minutes of the film.
Oh, so 2 minutes is enough for you to
And it was a good
write
smile.
off her character for the entire movie.
Yes.
Wow, Jess. If I'd have spent 2 minutes with you, oh boy,
Look, let's
rides off the last few years.
let's ignore the misogyny and go back to the film. The film was a brilliant deconstruction, had brilliant characters, brilliant twists, such as who the killer was, and also that the pervy principal didn't get punished.
No, he's fine. And also, no point did they shut the school down properly.
They didn't shut the school down, they mourned the vice principal's death, and no one looked in the incinerator. I think this is a great film. You should watch it. You should love it. You shouldn't think that it is just a simple, 80s film before my time. It's like the black and white of today. No. Don't. I'm pointing at the microphone because I know that's where I have to speak to talk to you, so you're the microphone's being the audience surrogate in this case. No. Great film. Amazing recommendation. Sensational is what this film is. And if I had to give it a rating, I would have to give it a sensationally, fantastically amazing. And I would gladly spit and polish it if it asked me to.
Hear that, Jess?
Oh,
Now my review is, hey, how are you? Good?
Yeah.
No. Don't talk back, guys. This is serious.
It wasn't me.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, that's good. You know, I'm pretty good myself. You know, I watched this great film called Cutting Class. Yeah, I actually watched it. I'm a hero. No need to congratulate me. No, stop. Please, stop. No. Okay. Give me the key to the city. That's fine. You know, all right. Calm down. I don't need to be the police commissioner. It's okay. Now, I watched this film called Cutting Class. I was looking forward to it. And it was looking forward to me. Because it's that guy who doesn't have a lot of friends. And he doesn't get invited to the parties a lot. And that means he doesn't make parties himself a lot. But he's that kid who has the house that's the best place to party. And I was lucky enough to be invited to this party. As was Bartek. As was Jess. And we all got to go in his hot tub. How cool is that? But not only that. This guy said, hey guys, we've got a mystery tonight to solve. Who's the murderer? Oh my god, there's a murderer? Yeah, there is. And it's the 80s. Oh my god. You know who this guy was? Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is the physical embodiment of Cutting Class. When I look at him today, I think, wow, that's the guy from Cutting Class. You know, what a legend. You know, think about it. Certain actors, you know, they forget where they came from, what their first project was. This was one of his first, his first film.
I believe it was his first starring role.
Oh, yeah, one of his first leading, at least. And I don't think he's forgotten it, because Brad Pitt is one of those actors who's always been self-aware, in the same way George Clooney has, about the level of cheesiness that they have within them as a performer. They wink to the camera, but they're a beautiful leading man at the same time, and he's a beautiful leading man in this film. This film is a party that it itself hosts for you. If I had to give this a rating, which I do have to give it a rating, I would give it, Jess, please put your phone down, out of, Jess, give me your phone.
How about you fuck off?
That's not part of the rating, Jess.
You don't know. Okay, let me unlock it because I don't want you to know my passcode.
Jess's passcode is her birthday.
No, it's not. It's.
When's your birthday?
No,
So, guys.
It's not. It's
Mine's
just.
May 30th.
Now, Jess doesn't seem convinced, but IMDb and YouTube have some comments to give and some reviews to give that may sway her over, and maybe you guys that are doubters. I don't like doubting Thomases, even though he was my favorite saint. And it goes.
He's the one that became the first pope, right?
Thomas?
Was he the one that became first pope?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Thomas died the most brutal.
Yeah.
Out of every one of them died pretty much brutally, except for
Except John.
was he the one that lived?
Yeah, John was the one that I think lived a long life.
Yeah, on an island by himself. So, yeah, Tommy died, but we're here today to hear people who weren't Thomas, or maybe they were, because I have some positives and some negative reviews, and Bartek, I don't know what your comments are like, but I'm going to start with what could be a negative one. It has no star rating from 2001, it's called It's the Pits! And then in brackets, get it? Get it? This is still the title. Get it? Because Brad Pitt is in it, and it's, oh, never mind.
They gave up.
They came up. And the review goes as such.
No star rating?
No stars.
Okay.
From that golden age of cinema known as the 80s comes this fiercely average teen slasher flick that seems tailor-made to be shown on USA Up All Night. This movie looks pretty glossy and professional and therefore bland. The killings take a back seat to comedy scenes starring Martin Mull and Roddy. Yeah, they wrote Roddy. Just Roddy, not, Roddy McDowall. Okay, they don't need to spell his name correctly.
Is it Ronnie?
No, it's, don't worry, I'll get around to it later.
Okay.
Roddy. They spelled it with a Y. There were like 2 Ys, so it's like Roddy McDowall, the latter of whom is pretty funny. Although McDowall often took crappy parts just for a paycheck, it's hard to imagine him getting excited over the script for Laser Blast. But he was never dull. To the film's credit, the identity of the killer is kept a pretty good secret till the film's amusing enough climax in the school's metal shop. One of the main suspects is played by a young Brad Pitt, but he doesn't embarrass himself like future star Matthew McConaughey did in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4. Brad is merely lifeless in his role as the hothead basketball star and reckless driver. Creepy Donovan Leitch, though, is the other probable suspect, and cute Jill, they don't even bother with her last name, and cute Jill is the confused gal in a bland love triangle with the two. Whatever happened to Jill? She's got a nice early Winona Ryder vibe going in this, and in Popcorn, which is a great film. I think she's an okay actress trapped in mediocre movies, like the Robert Englund Phantom of the Opera. And that is all I have to say on the matter of cutting class. That's all I have to say, Jess. But I have another shorter review here, but 8 stars. This person's happy.
Ooh.
Slasher movie with a stay in school message.
Oh my god.
From 1998. This movie, another mid-80s students in danger from Psycho number, is not bad. I rented it just to cheer for Brad Pitt's death scene. Does he get his chance to top Deborah Winger's terms of endearment deathbed moment? You'll have to rent it to find out. Somewhat funny with a great stay-in-school message delivered in the science lab for those of you who are serious about renting it. Skeeter gives it 7.5 out of 10.
Well,
This was written by Skeeter.
I like how he really liked it, and he's like, I wanted this to happen, find out if it does, but the answer is it didn't.
No. What did YouTube have to give us? Bartek, I imagine it was a lovely place.
The first person liked the film, and their comment is, yes! Less than 3, so
Was
a
it
heart.
you, Jess?
No, it's not the end of the comment! It's not the end of the comment!
Okay.
Yes! Less than 3, so a heart. I've been wanting to see this movie again since forever!
Sounds like Jess.
So they liked it, yeah.
Yeah, I watched it in 1983.
These movies...
89.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh boy. These movies prophesy... They have a I before the Y for some reason. All the fatalities in all schools we have seen in the past 16 years.
Oh no.
I.e. high schools and colleges, etc. And reality is horror. Only what God protects is safe. When his words are out, you know who enters in... ... That's a comment.
That's it. It ends with that. I don't know what that meant.
You know who enters in... ...
You know who, Jess.
Maybe this moron wouldn't get picked on so much if he didn't ride around on a
With a bike with tassels!
Look, maybe this moron wouldn't get picked on so much if he didn't ride around on a full-on girl's bike with a piece of cardboard pegged in the spokes to give the authentic motorbike sound. Gold!
Bartek,
Yes.
there's a 7-star review here called just simply cutting class.
Ooh.
It may contain spoilers, Jess.
We literally went through every
The
spoiler.
distributor they start with, this is how they start the review. Distributor, Republic Pictures. Plot, high school can be murder. Jess asks Paula. Her overprotective father disappears during a hunting trip. She is being pursued by a creepy classmate who recently graduated from a mental institution. Her jealous jock boyfriend who's looking for a reason to unleash his juvenile rage. The disturbed principal is after her tight student body. Any one of these people could be the killer, or is it someone totally different? Audio/video. No complaints with the Republic home video. Extras. None. Final thoughts. This is a pretty average entry into the slasher genre. Don't spend too much money on it, but if you see it for a low price, then I would recommend it. They put like 8 dots just so that pause was there. Bartek, I only have one review after this, so give us some more of your glorious comments. So, did you find these on the... Where did you find these YouTubers? From like a full upload of the movie? Because there are 8 of them.
It's from one of the full uploads.
Not from a trailer?
No, the full uploads had a lot of views, so I knew where the comments were.
He knew where the comments were, Jess, and they were all from you. Go on.
This next one is a negative, but it has a response.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. Brad Pitt in this movie, worth watching just to do a cerebral review of him then up until present day. An 80s flick with the background synthesizer amped and set for eerie vibe. The script was passable, and considering Roddy McDowall being in it too, watch it. So it's not too negative, but he's kind of being a dick, he's like, oh, I'm gonna watch it just to analyze blah blah blah. And the response is, shut up.
Just shut up, Jess.
In all lowercase, no emotion, just shut up.
What else, buddy?
It's a good movie, but if you are looking for a horror that takes itself serious, then avoid it.
God.
Then just avoid it, Jess. Avoid it like the fucking plague.
I have a feeling that this will be the film Brad Pitt will be remembered most for. I'm pretty sure. I think.
He was sure, but now he thinks.
I like when the teacher got his ass roasted at 1940. That's a timestamp. Funny way to die.
That was the Kilm guy.
We found that funny too.
I laughed.
The cheerleader's vagina looked all kinds of beat up.
It was beat up, Jess. As a girl, you could confirm that, yeah? When you saw her vagina, you thought, that looks all beat up, yeah?
Vaginas are very tough. I don't...
But Jess, hers looked all beat up.
All kinds of beat up.
All kinds of beat up.
I don't even understand what he's getting at with that one.
Well, did you not see her vagina? Did it not look all kinds of beat up?
It was like a millisecond.
It was all kinds of beat up, though.
So, Ryan,
I'm going to tell you my last review, buddy.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say...
This is a negative review.
Yep.
Or positive, because it's only 5 stars, so it could be on the fence, Jess.
It was 6 stars, it'll be positive 5 stars.
An honest review. That's the title. It's from 2017. So this year, Jess.
I am aware what you're...
Are you sure? Because you weren't aware to watch the film. So it starts as such. Before the shop teachers could get a hold of me, before I was in college and my parents finally had time to be at home, this was the film that taught me righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Bartek,
We didn't tell Jess what that means.
Unfortunately, that was about all it was good for at the time. Still, at least it had an effect on someone who watched it. At least it taught an unsupervised little 9-year-old boy something that he's used the rest of his life. Yeah, other than that, it's a throwaway film. Other than the fact that this film used the phrase righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, it's a throwaway film, just. I mean, you have a famous actor making a movie that famous actors never seem to be in, and that, on itself, is interesting and cool. But otherwise, it's a throwaway film. You watch it late at night, you watch it on a rainy Sunday afternoon, and otherwise, you forget all about it until you mention it to your friends from the 80s. That Brad was in it, and then suddenly they click on the light and are moderately shocked he'd been in a trash thriller. I can't tell you to stay away from it, because it does entertain, and I can't tell you to watch it because, well, it is kind of a junker. Not clunker. Junker.
I like that.
I like the bit where one line of dialogue in the movie was they say, you remember, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, one line, and that stuck with him. For years.
I mean, to be fair, in the film, it was a recurring line, and it was the symbol of
their friendship,
the killer's affection towards Brad Pitt.
You remember that time you told me righty-tighty, lefty-loosey? Fuck yeah. That stuck with this guy.
Yeah.
This film's gonna stick with me now because of this guy having been stuck with it.
You haven't heard of that term before this movie?
No one's heard of it. They made it! They made it! Didn't you know that's the origin of this phrase?
I think you're bullshitting now.
Google the phrase, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, who made it, and it will tell you Brad Pitt in Cutting Class. Bartek, what did YouTube have to say?
I've got 2 more comments left. One of them is a long comment because it's a review
They gave
with
a
a response.
Review. Oh, how sweet.
And the last one is very short, and I want that to conclude the reviews and comments. So, the review comment is, it's an okay so-so film. I'd give it 5 out of 10. Oh, I just realized in the of, they used a 0 instead of an O. So I'd give it 5 out 0 10. Not bad for Brad Pitt's first film role. The film could have been a little better, but it's okay. I like the cheesiness of it. I kind of wished Brian had a more brutal karmic death, but Paula straight up mutilating him with a few seconds flat will do. The editing and pacing was awkward half of the time, but it had gotten better somewhat better eventually. And some of the morals I take away from this film is that, number 1, the nice and quiet guys are the ones you should really watch out for. Number 2, your condescending nature will not get you far in life. And number 3, targeting and getting revenge on a loved one of someone who supposedly wronged you will end very badly for you. And the response is, fucking spoiler. Because he didn't mention that his review contains spoilers, Ryan. So
fucking spoilers. And what did the last comment have to say to tie us up?
To tie it all together?
To tie us to inject the good heroine in.
I'll put on
That's the female character. It's a hero.
Okay, Brad Pitt. I see you. It was a cool movie. I like it funny as well.
Oh.
There was no punctuation in all of that, so I gave, it kind of made more sense. It was more like, okay, Brad Pitt, I see you. It was a cool movie. I like it funny as well.
Well, guys, we've come to the dramatic final conclusion end of the show. It was great to cover a 1980s film, a horror film, a slasher. One with titties and praying.
Yeah, with tits
and prayers.
There's no prayers.
You didn't see it.
She was praying in front of the bathtub.
She was praying. Don't you wash your hair and pray at the same time? It's
No.
called multitasking. I thought women were good at it. And I could tell she was a woman because she had her titties out when she did it too, so it was okay. Guys, this was a film, and as always, films are good. No matter what Jess says. She's a negative Nancy about the fun of unappreciated masterpieces, unless they're Vampire Academy, in which she just wants more lesbianism in them. Isn't that right, Jess?
That was a very gay movie, and you've...
This movie was pretty gay.
You've been gay, I'm just saying.
So, guys, you guys have been fantastic, amazing, superfluously stupendous, wonderful listening people, as always. You guys can obviously, do the thing, that people say that you should do, which is, follow and like and comment on the social medias, Facebook, YouTube, all of that, iTunes, whatever, if you want. I'm not going to put a gun against your head. I mean, I'm not the murderer here, even though I just got released from the mental institution, alright? Like, I'm not the bad guy in the room
Crazy,
here.
help me.
I'm the good guy. So, Jess, as always, a pleasure to have you on the show. I loved using your Snapchat. Can't wait to do it for the next episode,
Can't wait for the police.
in which Jess doesn't
Go
come.
follow us.
The next episode will be Jess doesn't come to the show, but she mails her phone to the show, so I can use her Snapchat. Huh?
Keep dreaming, boys. Thank you for having me on, though.
Nah, you're not welcome.
I'm
So
gonna leave now. That's it.
that's it. Well, guys, as always, remember to be kind to each other. Without your phone.
Hey, listening people, let's all say goodbye to Jess. Bye, Jess. We hope you come back again someday. Why aren't you saying anything?
She's not-
I'm leaving. I'm waiting.
Goodbye. That was loud. Well, Bartek, it's just me and you now.
Well, actually, Ryan, I have a confession to make. Bye, Ryan. Farewell. I'm leaving, but I won't slam the door. I'll close very gently.
Bye, Bartek. Well, I guess it's my turn to say bye now. Bye, farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, good night. Bye, Ryan.